My beloved child, I see that moment as clearly as a drop of dew falling from a leaf at dawn, that instant when the good thing you thought you held securely slipped away like water through your fingers, leaving behind a silence that is both hollow and aching. You stand at a crossroads, bewildered and self-blaming, your eyes following the fading trace of a blessing that touched you only to depart, your ears still echoing faintly with the soft rhythm of a hope not yet named. You whisper, have I lost what was meant for me? Have I missed my appointed train? Has the door been made for me before I could step through? My child, place your hand over your heart, listen to your breath, and know that I am there, quiet as the ground beneath your feet, steadfast as the hidden current flowing where your eyes cannot see. I am not surprised by what has just happened. Before your eyes perceived, I had already seen. Before your hands reached out, I already knew. I count even the faintest tremor in the strings of your soul, and I note your sorrow as a master weaver notices a single thread snapping in the tapestry, not with fear or frustration, but with calm precision, weaving it back to make the Cridens picture stronger, fuller, and more complete. You are looking through the lens of a moment, while I behold the panorama of the whole. You fear because you see a fragment, while I smile because the mosaic remains unbroken. Do not confuse the vessel with the source. Do not mistake the tool for the artisan's hand. What you touched may have been a beautiful vessel, but I am the wellspring that never runs dry. Vessels may break, change, or slip from your grasp, yet the source flows on fresh, constant, and moving in the way I have ordained. I let you see so you would know I can do it. I let you taste so that sweetness might be etched into your memory to nourish hope. Then I let it pass, not to punish or abandon you, but to lift your chin with my hand, to redirect your gaze from the gift to the giver. You thought that blessing was the only answer, the only key to your unrest. But I am the greater answer, the door to all doors. You ask, but I was so close. Why did you let it slip away? Because you are learning to discern between what dazzles for a moment and what endures as vision. The fleeting satisfies the senses, then dies like a spark. The vision takes root in the soul and becomes a path that lasts. I want your hands to grow lighter, so that your heart may grow heavier with faith. I want the habit of grasping to give way to the habit of trusting. I want your steps to stop chasing the shape of an answer and begin walking to the sound of the one who answers. As Abraham obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going, Hebrews 1:1-8, carrying vision instead of a map, so too am I teaching you this, to stop counting what rests in your hands and begin guarding what I have written on your heart. You think loss is the mark of failure. I see in it the rung of growth. In the classroom of trust, the deepest lessons are seldom learned with full hands. They are born when the hands are empty. Emptiness is not lacking. It is the precise shape of the fullness I am preparing. When a gap appears, do not rush to fill it with panic, nor pack it tight with reasoning. Let that space become the dwelling of my presence, a sanctuary where promises can resound, peace can rest, and direction can be engraved straight into your soul. You ask, did I miss my only moment, my child? I am not bound by single moments. I do not run out of opportunities, nor exhaust options, nor stand helpless before a closed door. When one door shuts by your mistake, by circumstance, or by a reason you do not yet understand, I do not turn away. I open another discreet, firm, and fitted for the new life I am forming in you. I take no joy in your sorrow, but I delight in your growth when you choose faith over self-blame, learning over lament, movement over paralysis at the crossroads of regret. That is how you partner with me to turn a wrinkled page into a beautiful chapter. Do not let regret define you. Do not name yourself after a moment. Do not let one slice of time become the frame that confines your soul. You are a story still being written, not a paused reel frozen in one scene. This page may sting your fingers as you turn it, but the book is far from finished, and what I write does not blur beneath your tears. I hold the same pen with which I inscribed your name, and my hand does not tremble when it writes your future. Believe that I can do what you cannot imagine. Believe that I see what you cannot predict. Believe that I have a way where you see only walls. There is a subtle temptation that follows every disappointment, the temptation to shrink your vision to fit your wound. You begin to hope for less prey, smaller prayers, dream shorter dreams, just to avoid pain. But in doing so, you trade freedom for a cocoon. Let me cut it open, even if a few strands sting as they tear. I did not set you free to imprison you in doubt. I freed you so you might fly not away from life, but through it with wings of rest, with the heartbeat of conviction lifted by the warm currents rising from the lowest valleys. You are learning a new language, the language of peace that does not depend on possession. When the blessing is in your hands, you give thanks. When the blessing departs you, still give thanks, not in denial of pain, but in acknowledgement that the source remains. This peace is not a cover nor a mask. It is the sap running through the grain of your soul, keeping you from cracking under heat or rotting in rain. It teaches you to love the good without being ruled by it, to cherish the gift without letting it overshadow the giver. My child, I want you to discern between the noise of emotion and the voice of truth. Noise urges quick conclusions. Everything is ruined. Truth whispers calmly, the embroidery is still in progress. The next stitch will be finer. Noise accuses, you are not worthy. Truth upholds, your worth is not measured by what you hold, but by the one who holds you. Noise insists, the only chance is gone. Truth replies, I am the Lord of time. I make a way where there is none. Each time you choose truth, the nerves of panic weaken within you, and the tendons of faith grow strong. Do not be afraid to return to the place where you stumbled. Do not fear to look straight into the silence still damp with tears. Fear bends your back, but truth will straighten your shoulders. Name your pain, but do not build a throne for it. Acknowledge your regret, but do not set up an altar to it. Let emotions pass like clouds. Let truth stay like mountains. When the clouds lift, you will see a winding pass revealed behind the mist, a path you could not notice before, because your eyes were fixed on a single gate. If you ask, what should I do now? Begin with something simple. Open your hands. Open them from the image that has left. Open them to receive peace. Open them so I may place something in them that matches the new measure of your growth. Then rise slowly but surely, and walk one small obedient step at a time. Obedience is not showy but effective, like an underground stream. It seeks its way beneath rock, patient and steady, until one day it bursts forth as a clear spring. You will discover that every act of obedience, however small, realigns the compass within you, leading you away from the path of self-reproach and onto the road of wisdom. Remember this as if it were etched on your palm. What slipped through your fingers has not slipped through mine. I have not lost track, nor pace, nor sovereignty. I am in your story not as a distant spectator, but as a devoted author. I weave restoration into the very structure, hide hope between the lines, and lay peace at every transition. When you turn the page with faith, you will hear a familiar whisper. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. And in that moment, you will know what felt like an ending was only a rest note before the next melody. You are not the one who dropped something. You are the one being lifted. You are not a broken vessel. You are the spring being cleared. You are not a sealed failure. You are an open page ready for the new sentence I am about to write. My beloved child, let me lead your heart slowly through the garden of questions. Step softly, for here lie seeds unseen by the eye, buried in the soil of silence, watered by tears, warmed by the breath of prayer. You asked, why did you let me see? only to let it slip away, because some things become truly yours only when they move from your hands into your inner being. Some things must be shaken loose from the surface so they can take root in the core. You must learn to possess not by grasping, but by becoming, not by outward ownership, but by inward transformation. A grain of wheat remains only a grain until it allows itself to be buried. Only when it breaks does it reveal the life within. So it is with the blessing you touched it, cracked the old shell so you could glimpse who you might become when the roots of faith grow deeper into the living soil. You once thought peace came from holding tightly, but enduring peace comes from surrender. Holding exhausts the hands, surrender lightens the shoulders. When I let something pass through, I do not withdraw. I am leading you into the most precious lesson of all, to live by my word, not by fleeting evidence, by covenant, not by impulse, by inner guidance, not by outer signs. Remember what was written long ago, for the vision awaits an appointed time. It hastens to the end and will not lie. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. What you just saw was like lightning before a storm, not the storm itself. It signaled a change of season, not the season's fullness. Do not demand that a flash become the sun. The sun has its hour, and it will rise when the appointed time comes. My child, do not punish yourself for a moment of loss. Self-blame is the rope that binds the soul's wrists, keeping you from reaching for the next gift. What you need is not condemnation, but light for discernment. Sit before me and ask, have I looked more for the visitor at the door than for the master of the house? Have I loved the vessel too much and forgotten the source? Have I longed for shortcuts more than for steady paths? If your answer reveals imbalance, do not be ashamed. Rejoice, for you have found the point that needs alignment. Truth does not come to scold. It comes like a craftsman, with a wedge tapping gently to level the uneven table. Every correction from my hand carries peace, the sure sign that you are being set back on the true axis. You ask, then what should I do after seeing yet failing to keep it? Write down what you have seen, but do not idolize it. Keep what you have tasted, but do not crown it as king. Record what I have revealed, not to worship an image, but to remember a direction. Writing it down is like staking your tent in the wind. When emotions shift like sand, the words will keep the poles upright. Then give thanks. Be thankful, not because you retained it, but because you came to know me more, the giver, the keeper, the finisher. Gratitude positions you toward the future, freeing you from the snare of if only. I want to teach you the art of open hands. Open hands are not surrendering defeat. They are the posture for receiving newness. When your hands are full, you cannot receive, even if I stand before you. When you stretch your fingers open, the joints may ache and crack with fear, but breathe. Let that breath remind you that freedom has its own sound, soft but steady. Each time you open your hands, an old habit weakens, the habit of measuring safety by what you hold, the habit of lowering your expectations to avoid pain, the habit of shutting doors before the bell has rung. And as these habits dissolve, a new person rises within you, one who leans more on my word than on temporary outcomes, one who walks unafraid because the backpack of worry has been set down at the teacher's feet. I also want to speak to you about the discipline of waiting. Waiting is not idle resignation. It is deep movement. It is like the gardener who knows that after planting there are things one must not do. Not dig up the soil every morning for proof, not overwater out of fear of dryness, not drag the pot from sun to shade in impatience. A wise gardener learns the rhythm of creation, to trust the temporary darkness, the right measure of moisture, the sunlight that arrives on time. You will need such discipline, the discipline of not forcing, not rushing, not harvesting before season. This discipline will protect you from decisions born of fear and spare your heart from exhaustion by futile experiments. Choose the rhythm of promise, not the rhythm of panic. Let me be the keeper of time. You need only be the keeper of peace. My child, listen closely to a secret of serenity. Learn to anchor yourself in this phrase. Even this will be used for good. Not everything that happens is good, but everything can serve good when placed in my hands. Romans 8:28. The mystery of my grace is that I can turn ashes into fertile soil, stumbling stones into steps, and tears into the salt that flavors wisdom. When you believe this, you stop facing life as an unpredictable opponent and begin meeting it as a vast classroom, knowing that every assignment is designed to awaken a capacity you never knew you had. Do not fear that the delay before you will break the story. On the contrary, there are chapters that can only be written with the ink of patience. Slowness allows you to hear my voice more clearly amid countless signals. It trains you to tune the antenna of your soul to one frequency, alone the frequency of peace. Try this each time you feel the inner urgency to do something. Now pause and count 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, and ask, where is peace? If peace points toward waiting, then you have heard correctly. If peace points toward moving, you will know it too. My peace is not a vague feeling. It is a quiet knowing, a weight inside that pulls you toward what is right. Learn to carry that inner scale at every crossroad. I know there are times when you are haunted by the thought, if only I had held tighter. If only I had chosen differently. My beloved, history does not allow you to edit its punctuation, but grace allows me to redeem the next sentence. Entrust your if-onlys to me, for those words drain the heart of strength. Instead, transform them into therefore. Therefore today I choose to listen more quickly. Therefore today I choose to prepare more carefully. Therefore today I choose to open my heart wider. If only looks backward, therefore moves forward. And each therefore you live becomes a stepping stone, lifting you to a higher place on the path. Do not be surprised if behind every loss there is a new invitation, an invitation to tidy the room of your soul. Open the windows, dust the old shelves, take down the portraits that have hung too long, the outdated definitions of yourself, the self-judgments made in weakness, the labels others carelessly stuck on you that you have come to believe. Let the fresh wind in. It is the wind of the Spirit, gentle yet strong enough to sweep away the musty air that has lingered. After such a cleansing, you will find your inner space brighter, wider, and ready for new things to find a home. One more thing, learn the language of remembrance. When the memory of what slipped away revisits you, do not let it pull you into the whirlpool of self-blame. Let it become a bell that calls you to a short prayer. Whisper simply, Lord, I place this in your hands. Teach me what I must learn, release what I must let go, and keep what I must carry. Such a brief prayer is like placing a pebble on the riverbank. It doesn't stop the river, but it shapes its flow, guiding the water to curve rightly around the shore. Over time, these small prayers will reshape the pathways of your thoughts, turning the trail of confusion into the road of surrender. I am closer than the pulse at your wrist. Do not think I withdraw when you stumble. It is in those very moments that I stand nearest, ensuring no fall cracks the core of your spirit. I cushion your descent with the rug of grace, not the hard floor of bitterness. I hold the boundaries of your emotions, so they do not shatter the delicate glass within. I guard your treasure even when you think the vault stands open. What I ask of you is agreement, to let me teach, to let me lead, to let me alter the schedule. Grace works perfectly when your will nods in consent. Do not tie your name to a mistake, tie it to a promise. Mistakes speak in the past tense was. Promises speak is and will be. Mistakes close doors, promises open them. Mistakes lock the heart, promises turn the key. You belong to the promise, not to the shadow of a day gone by. I will bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. Isaiah 6:1-3. This is not poetic decoration for a wall, it is the operating design of heaven flowing through your life. The ashes are real, but so is the crown, and between the two, my hands are at work. So lift your head from the place you slipped. Rewrite the rhythm of your life around 3 movements: gratitude, surrender, and small obedience. Gratitude softens memory, surrender lightens the heart, small obedience shifts the entire journey. Each day, find one reason to give thanks, one thing to lay down, and one small step to take when I whisper. You do not need to wait for the great door to creak open. Sometimes great doors move by the soft click of a small lock. And when you live this way, you will witness the wonder. What once slipped through your fingers will no longer rule your imagination, and what I have ordained will come quietly, steadily, unshakably, like the dawn that does not boast yet drives away the night. My child, now you can place your hand over your heart and feel its rhythm settling. Let one short sentence close. Today's lesson I lack nothing, for you are my portion. When that line becomes the private rhythm of your soul, you will look at loss with new eyes. You will ask less, why, and more, what am I to learn? How shall I walk from here? And at that intersection, you will begin to taste what I have prepared from the very beginning, a wholeness that depends not on what rests in your hands, but on the bright one who holds you. My child, come now, walk with me across the final bridge of this section, the bridge that spans loss to commissioning. I do not want you to remain forever on the far bank, counting every ripple of regret. I want you to walk, for walking will teach you what sitting still never can. Upon this bridge I will place in your hand a new way of life, a simple law of the heart, strong enough to keep you steady when the winds change. First, build a quiet altar within your day, no stones, no incense, only a space where your heart's voice bows lower than the world's noise. In the morning, give me the right to set your schedule. At noon, pause to realign your compass. At evening, gather the sparks of insight that flickered through your thoughts. These small rituals do not bind you. They are 3 anchors keeping you from drifting with the unpredictable tides of emotion and information. When the anchors drop regularly, you will find that peace is no longer an accident, it becomes your pattern. Next, practice listening more heavily than speaking, the golden rule of changing seasons. Each time your will stirs, place it beneath the lamp of discernment. Does this sprout from fear or from faith? Is it driven by haste or invited by peace? Does it seek fading glory or lasting fruit? Do not rush to conclusions. Let the questions stand beside you a while, like 2 friends, quietly sharing the same sky. At times, the answer will not come through reasoning, but through weight, the inner gravity that leans you toward the right direction. When you recognize that pull, step gently but decisively. I do not ask you to run. I only invite you to walk for small steps in the right direction. Accumulate into long journeys, while hurried leaps in the wrong direction only circle you back to the valley you sought to escape. Then redeem the time through 3 daily practices: prioritize, life embrace, process, and plant for others. To prioritize life means choosing what makes the true self grow in you and in those around you, a call of encouragement, a timely apology, an hour of study that sharpens your gift. To embrace the process means allowing everything to grow at its natural pace. You do not water a tree by pulling it upward each morning, but by giving it enough water and sunlight in their appointed time. To plant for others means sowing what you hope to one day harvest. If you long to be understood, learn to listen. If you yearn for open doors, become a keeper of doors for others. If you desire restoration, be generous with forgiveness. The seeds you plant this way may not bear fruit on the ground you stand upon, but they will sweeten the air around you, and in due time you will rest under the shade of your own giving. Do not forget to reread your personal history with me. That record is your most precious handbook against panic. Recall the days I led you where no one thought there was a path, the hours I stitched your heart together with threads of gentleness, the moments you thought yourself empty, only to be filled in ways you could not explain. Mark these memories, for a recorded grace becomes a fortress against the lies of despair. When the whisper, "It's too late," comes open to a page where I arrived right on time, when the thought, "It's gone forever," presses down, place your hand upon the evidence that nothing escapes my hold. I will restore to you the years the locusts have eaten. Joel 2:2-5 is not a slogan to hang on your wall. It is the heartbeat of a God who makes time bloom again. Now I give you a new name for this season, the Keeper of Peace. You thought you needed to be the conqueror of circumstance, but your true title now is guardian of your soul's gate, ensuring that whatever enters must pass through the filter of peace. Anything that steals peace, lay it back on the scales. Anything that costs you integrity, release it. No victory is worth the price of your soul. No door is worth opening if the key is the bending of truth. And you will see strangely yet surely, when you guard the inner gate with vigilance, many outer gates will open of their own accord. For my kingdom works from the inside out, not the other way around. Inward order builds outward paths. I also want you to train the habit of giving thanks before you see, not as courtesy but as faith, shifting its weight toward hope. Gratitude before evidence declares that the source is ready, though the vessel has not yet appeared. It proclaims that the sun is rising, even when the horizon still looks gray. Such thanksgiving opens the door for a joy that no one can take away. John 1:6-2, a joy that stands without the scaffolding of circumstance. And when that joy dwells within fear, will find fewer places to hang its coat. Do not close this lesson until you speak to yourself with a new voice. You once called yourself the one who dropped the slow-footed, the clumsy, and unworthy. Change your language. I am being taught. I am a student of peace. I am a steward of moments. The way you name yourself shapes the posture of your soul. That posture shapes your choices, and your choices carve your life. I am not giving you a foreign title. I am awakening the true name I spoke over you from the beginning, the name woven into your design, tied to the mission and essence I placed within you. When you call yourself rightly, you will hear my voice more clearly amid all other sounds. Before we part this bridge, I leave you a test both simple and powerful. The 3 flames for every decision. First, the flame of the word. Does this contradict what I have already spoken? Second, the flame of peace. When you imagine taking this step, does your heart settle or stir? Third, the flame of love. Does this choice make you love me and others more? If all 3 burn bright, walk on. If one flickers, pause. As simple as that, yet it will save you from impatience that burns the process, or naivety that walks into shadows dressed as light. And here is my sending blessing as you step off this bridge. I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Isaiah 4:3-9. Your wilderness is no longer meaningless. Your desert is no longer mute. You have learned to press your ear to the ground and hear the footsteps of hope approaching, to lift your eyes from empty hands and see the hand that holds you. From now on, when the wind recalls old stories, you will not tremble. You will smile and say, I have learned the lesson. You will no longer chase after vessels. You will seek the source. You will no longer build small shrines to if-onlys. You will raise markers to therefores. You will no longer measure your days with the ruler of regret, but with the ruler of obedience. Rise now, my child. Brush the dust of a passing season from your shoulders, but do not brush away its lessons. Take a long breath as one about to cross a mountain pass. Let that breath carry the resin scent of new hope. Place your empty hand into mine once more and say the brief yet complete words, Lord, I agree. When those words leave your lips, the bridge will tremble like a closing chord of a song, and the far shore where time is redeemed and opportunities are no longer held captive by fear will appear nearer than you thought. There you will step into part 2 of your journey, learning the art of living each day as though it touches eternity, where every hour ceases to be swept by the wind and becomes a seed sown in my appointed field. My beloved child, today I want to place my hand upon the compass of your lifetime, not the vague stream that slips away like sand through an hourglass, but the concrete moments that can be redeemed, transformed from ordinary to sacred. You once believed time was a river, and you were a leaf carried along. But in my kingdom, time is a field entrusted to a steward. Under the same sun, one person merely watches the grass grow, another plows, sows waters, and harvests. Be careful how you live, redeem the time, because the days are evil. Ephesians 5:1-5:16. I do not call you to rush. I invite you to live with intention, so that every hour may fall not into the pit of distraction, but into the furrow of purpose. First, change how you name your days. Do not call them busy Tuesdays, tiring Thursdays, or weekends that slipped away. Call each one a day entrusted. Naming it thus pulls the day from the grip of emotion and places it into the hands of mission. In the morning before touching a screen, touch a prayer. Lord, I entrust this schedule to you. Show me what I must do and what I must release. That short sentence is like the first chalk line drawn across the field. It marks the direction of the furrow, and when the first line is straight, the rest will wander less. Next, learn to distinguish between the urgent and the important. The urgent shouts loudly, the important speaks softly but endures. The urgent makes you run, the important teaches you to walk steadily. Each morning write down the 3 most essential tasks, those that, if completed, will make this day meaningful in my sight and true to who you are becoming. It could be 1 hour of study that sharpens your calling, 1 reconciliatory conversation with a loved one, or 1 faithful page of your craft. Everything else, no matter how noisy, must orbit around those 3 pillars. You will soon discover it is not that you have too little time, but too many unnecessary turns. I also want to teach you the art of gentle boundaries. A boundary is not a cold wall. It is a fence with a gate. It lets nourishment in and keeps depletion out. When someone tries to pull you into the spiral of comparison, smile and say, "Today I don't have time for that." When an old habit demands to be fed mindless, scrolling, idle chatter, false busyness, say, "I'm tending to different seeds now." Gentle boundaries protect the field from greedy birds. They ensure the sweat you pour into the soil is not wasted. Treat your attention as a rare treasure. Every time you open the door to distraction, you sign a check drawn from the minutes of your own life. Listen to your body and your mind. They will sound alarms when you trade presence for drift. So do one thing at a time, be wholly there. When you eat, eat. When you speak, listen. When you pray, remain. Presence thickens time. 1 mindful minute weighs more than 10 distracted ones. You will find your soul less tangled and your thoughts less shattered like broken glass. I know you've often told yourself, "When I'm free, I'll do the important things." But free time is an illusion. It always stays 1 day away. The truth is, you create space by saying no to what isn't yours. Begin with small but steady frames of time, 15 minutes in the morning for the word and silence, 20 minutes midday for essential work, 30 minutes in the evening to review, give thanks, and realign. Small repeated rhythms carve a new channel, and the water of grace will naturally flow into it. Do not fear that regularity will dry out inspiration. On the contrary, discipline invites inspiration to stay. A seed needs a watering schedule. A harp must be tuned. Inspiration is a welcomed guest, not the homeowner. When you have kindled the fire, the guest will gladly linger. So do your part, small but steadfast. Steady drops, fill the jar. That is the mathematics of faithfulness. Add the small things, subtract the showiness, multiply by time, divide by waste, and the result is enduring fruit. Guard the gates of your eyes and ears, my child. News that cannot be digested will bloat the mind until the soul grows sluggish and heavy all day. Choose a healthy spiritual diet. Read what nourishes hope. Listen to what strengthens the heart. Speak of what builds. Some writings, melodies, and encounters are like the morning sun, they awaken the seeds within. Others are like smog, they dim the light so young shoots cannot grow. Ask yourself, does this draw me nearer or farther from what He has called me to? If it pulls you away, lessen the dose. If it draws you close, increase it. I want to speak to you about the breathing rhythm of a day. Each day set 4 beats, offer, do, pause, offer. Offer the beginning. Lay your hand on your schedule and invite me to reign. Do through the day, carry out your 3 essential tasks with full presence. Pause midway, withdraw for 5 minutes to check your inner compass. Offer the ending, return all unfinished things, give thanks for what was completed, and ask for peace in the night. When these 4 beats align, you will be like a rower who knows the rhythm of the oars. You will travel farther without exhaustion. Do not measure a good day by how pleasant or dull it felt. Measure it by faithfulness and love. Some days will sparkle, others will gray. Yet both can be holy if you have loved rightly and acted rightly. Do not wait for the vibe to live. Let purpose lead you, and the vibe will follow like a cool breeze upon the forehead of one who walks the right path. You must also learn the art of ending. Many lose their time because they never close the chapter. End a conversation when it's enough. End a task when it reaches good enough to submit. End a day when the sun sets. Perfection is often fear wearing a beautiful mask. It holds you just before the finish line. Do your best, then release. He has made everything beautiful in its time, Ecclesiastes 3:1-1. Your part is to know when to stop, so beauty can take shape. Take time for rest and play, but rest as a law of grace, not as escape. Play as a breath, not as addiction. Rest renews the soil. Play softens the core. A true day of rest is not one without work, but one where the soul is recharged by presence, joy, and gratitude. When you rest well, you return to work without bitterness. When you play well, you return to your page without dryness. Never forget, time is where I meet you. I do not wait only on holy days. I stand at the threshold of every morning. When you pour a cup of water, I notice the gratitude in your gesture. When you open your emails, I hear your sigh. When you walk, I walk beside you. Knowing this, you will stop despising small tasks. You will turn housework into holy work, because holy is not the kind of task, but the way it's done with me, in me, for me. Keep a small vow in your heart: I will not let time pass without leaving a trace of love. Each day, one kind act. Each week, one reconciliation. Each month, one visible step in your calling. Each season, one enduring fruit. History will not remember how busy you were, but heaven will record how deeply you loved. Use time as ink, then write stories that when the book closes, you can smile and say, "Today has touched eternity." Try one simple act. Now set an alarm 3 times a day, morning, noon, evening. Each time it rings, ask one question: what matters most right now? Then spend 15 undistracted minutes doing it. Watch how within a week your field begins to change. I do not call you to leaps. I call you to steady steps. Steady steps build bridges from fragile present to enduring future. And as you walk this way, you are redeeming time, not to collect achievements, but to offer me a day made beautiful in its season. My beloved child, I now want to take you deeper into the art of redeeming time, not as a motto framed on the wall, but as a way of life flowing through your smallest movements. For time does not merely pass, it is used, and the way you use it leaves patterns on your soul like the grains of wood. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalm 90:12. Wisdom here is not cleverness, but the ability to arrange a day in the order of love, to prioritize what grows your soul and strengthens others. First, learn to detox from procrastination. Delay is not mere slowness. It is the unconscious strategy to avoid the small pain of beginning. The pain is no more than a pinprick, but the mind magnifies it into a thorn. Do the opposite. Stretch your heart with a 5-minute motion. Choose one important task, set a timer for 5 minutes and start. When the bell rings, if momentum flows, add 5 more. If not, stop, but count it as victory. You have moved from frozen to warm. Do this 5 times a day, and an hour of fat becomes muscle. Procrastination dissolves, not by scolding, but by being replaced with small beginnings. Next, build a fence of light around your day, 3 non-negotiable zones. The first, silence and the Word, where the Spirit realigns your axis before the day begins. The second, focused labor, where your hands touch your mission with sleeves rolled up. The third, covenant love, where you are fully present with family, friends, or a soul who needs to be heard. These 3 bright zones are like lamps on a hillside. Even when clouds are thick, they still show the way. Let all else, no matter how noisy, revolve around these lights. Practice digital hygiene not because the device is evil, but because the mind is fragile. When you touch news before touching peace, you hand the driver's seat of your emotions to strangers. Change the order, open your heart before you open your screen. Turn off needless notifications. Create 2 quiet islands, 2 hours at dawn and 1 at dusk. During essential work, leave your phone in another room, or at least turn it face down as a gesture of reverence towards something greater. You will discover it is not talent you lack, but focus too often stolen. Redeem time then, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every minute offered with awareness becomes holy ground. Every breath lived with purpose becomes prayer. When you live this way, the ticking of clocks will no longer threaten you. It will join the choir, keeping rhythm with the heartbeat of eternity. I want to teach you the law of bundling, grouping similar tasks into the same block so that friction is reduced. Set aside 1 stretch for answering messages, 1 for creative work, 1 for house tasks, and 1 for meetings. When you jump from writing to cleaning to replying to texts, you force your mind to keep shifting gears. The engine tires from constant acceleration and braking. The law of bundling is like placing signs along a road. It keeps the ride smooth and avoids sudden stops. Yet do not bundle so tightly that you suffocate. Leave breathing spaces, short buffers where the soul can rest and reset. My child, write a personal rule of life for your week, nothing elaborate, just a few guiding lines. For example, Sunday, a sacred rest day. Monday, clear the desk and plan. Wednesday, deep study. Friday, review and gratitude. Every evening, 20 minutes of quiet. A few pillars like these are enough to keep the tent upright when the wind rises. Do not aim to please everyone. Stay faithful to the invitation that is yours. Those who have no rule will always be absorbed into someone else's plans. Learn the principle of stones and sand. A jar is full only when the large stones, the essentials, go in first. Only then can you pour in the sand, the smaller matters, to fill the gaps. Reverse the order, and the stones won't fit. Morning is for placing stones. Midday, a gentle shake for the sand to settle. Afternoon, a little water, flexible, lighter tasks. Close the jar at night with thanksgiving. Today I was faithful. Fill what I lack, O Lord. Gratitude does not hide the unfinished. It surrenders it to the one who completes. Do not forget the art of using detours. Little waiting times, queues, traffic loading screens are hidden mines of gold. Do not let them leak into unconscious scrolling. Turn them into seed pockets. 3 deep breaths, 1 short prayer, 2 lines of ideas, 1 encouraging message. Like a shepherd who gathers scattered twigs into a bundle, you will collect wasted minutes and build a warm fire from them. I know you fear losing your rhythm. Interruptions are real. but they are not the true thief. It is your reaction that decides the loss. Classify your interruptions. Some are knocks of goodness, a needful word, a person in need. Others are noise, neither urgent nor fruitful. To the knocks of goodness, open the door, but set a frame. I have 10 minutes. Tell me the most important thing. To the noise, smile and say, I'm in the middle of something. I'll be free at 3 for 5 minutes. You honor others while still honoring your calling. Keep a faithfulness log. Each evening write 3 short lines, one thing you did in alignment with what truly mattered, one thing you want to improve, one thing you give thanks for. These 3 lines are like 3 nails fastening the day to the wall of memory so it won't slip into oblivion. After a month, look back, you'll see your steps have gone farther than fatigue ever reported. Faithfulness is slow-growing wealth, but it compounds surely. Train what I call the grace reflex for the days you drop. There will be times when you're swept away, distracted, or off rhythm. Do not condemn the weak for one misstep. Do not smash the whole jar for one crack. Pause, perform the renewal ritual, take a breath, whisper a prayer, choose one small right action. It's like flipping the switch back on. The grace reflex will save you from the spiral of whatever that quiet phrase that so often escorts regret. Now let's talk about seasons in life. Not every season is for harvest. Some are for plowing, some for weeding, some for resting the soil. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. When you accept the rhythm of seasons, you grow gentler with yourself. In the season of study, don't demand blossoms. In the season of caregiving, don't scold yourself for delayed projects. When the season changes, goals change, but one thing remains: faithfulness. Faithfulness is the language every season understands. Guard your energy like one who manages a well. Morning is the clear hour, save it for difficult creative work. Noon is slower, assign steady tasks. Afternoon grows weary, keep to lighter duties. Night is still harvest your inner life. Do not force poetry in dry hours, nor waste golden ones on trivial chores. The wise do not ask only what and why, but also when. I want to plant in you a 3-gate filter for every invitation. Does it align with your mission? Can it be replaced by someone else? Will it genuinely touch at least one real soul? If the answer is no to all 3, decline it kindly. Saying no is not rude. It is clearing space for what should be present. When you say no rightly, you are saying yes more clearly to what I've entrusted. Prepare a comfort chest for gray days, a few songs that lift your heart, a verse that reminds you 3 names you can call a corner with plants and light. Don't wait for the storm to find your raincoat. When the clouds knock open the chest, and tend your spirit so the necessary work won't be swallowed by gloom. True self-care is not indulgence. It is maintenance of the tools for holy work. Adopt transition rituals. Between tasks, wash your hands slowly, step to the window to see the sky, place a hand over your heart, and whisper, I am present. 30 seconds is enough for your mind to shift gears smoothly, sparing the cogs of your attention from grinding down. By evening, when you close your laptop, say the benediction, today is enough. Enough is not resignation. It is the humble pride of the craftsman who has done his part and yields the rest to his master. Remember, you redeem time not to stockpile accomplishments, but to turn ordinary days into altars, places where love is practiced, truth is lived, and hope is witnessed. Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of the time. Colossians 4:5. Redeeming time is not using people, it is using opportunities so that a cup of water, a smile, a kind word carries the salt of grace. When you live this way, a day is no longer a dark hallway between 2 sleeps. It becomes a sunlit porch stretched between 2 shores of eternity. Now, my child, try this simple practice. Draw your week on paper. Mark 3 bright zones, those sacred blocks that cannot be invaded. Write down 3 big stones for each day, the essentials that give your hours shape. Set 3 gentle bells, labeled pause, breathe a line. During these 7 days, do not chase perfection, seek rhythm. By the 8th day, you will be astonished. Your mind will feel clearer, your work truer, people around you more touched, and your heart, though still acquainted with challenge, will rest like water beside the dock. Then you will understand redeeming time does not make you tense. It helps you lower your shoulders and walk in step with the hand that leads you. From this foundation, you are ready to move on steady, like one who has found the heartbeat of a day that touches eternity. My child, to redeem time is not to start every morning with a fiery resolve that fades by noon. You need a covenant with time, a quiet vow between you and me, written in small habits and kept by great love. This covenant is not a rigid checklist, but a flexible trellis on which the vine of your life can climb and flourish. Begin with this affirmation: my time is a gift, not a prison, a seed, not a burden. When you change the way you name time, you change the way you live it. I want you to see each moment as a sacred coin. Every one you spend leaves the imprint of the one who loves you on another soul. Start with the 1-page rule. Each morning, write a single short page about 3 things, what I am inviting you to, what you must release, and 1 small step in the right direction. That page becomes the day's map, the contract you sign with yourself under the witness of peace. When the day drifts, open it again like a sailor checking the compass. Do not wait for inspiration. Inspiration visits the person who has set the table for it. 1 consistent page will open the door for greater pages. 1 intentional day will pave the way for blooming seasons. Then practice the 3-circle rhythm: inner life, craft, and connection. Touch all 3 daily. Inner life, 15 minutes of silence, scripture, and prayer. Craft, at least 30 minutes, honing your calling, study, skill, or creation. Connection, 1 concrete act of love toward a real person. When all 3 circles move, the wheel of the day runs smooth and balanced. If one stands still, the whole vehicle shakes, and the soul grows restless without knowing why. Do not end a day while 1 circle remains untouched. Learn the anchor technique. Morning anchor: offer your schedule to me, write your page, choose your 3 essentials. Evening anchor: give thanks, record 3 lines of faithfulness, forgive yourself and others, and hand me what's unfinished. 2 anchors keep you from drifting in the whirlpool of comparison or hurry. The one without anchors loses peace even in calm waters. The one with anchors rests even in storms. I know you fear false savings of time, cutting corners in kindness, trimming attention to loved ones, shortening silence meant for your soul. That is not saving, it is draining capital. Time is like soil: if you only harvest and never replenish, the ground will tire. So practice replenishment. After an intense hour, breathe by the window for 5 minutes. After a long meeting, take 2 minutes of quiet and a sip of water. After a fast sprint, send 1 affectionate message to someone you often forget. Small deposits keep the soul from debt. Hold yourself to a holy good enough. Perfection is the sandstorm that halts the traveler. Holy good enough is the steady wind that moves him forward. For every essential task, use 4 marks of completion: clear, honest, useful, loving. When these are met, release it and move on. I do not demand walls polished like mirrors. I desire a house that stands firm, warm, and open to guests. Do not let the ego's pickiness become the shackle of your calling. Now about endurance for monotony. This is the muscle that redeems time. Most fruit is born from unspectacular repetition: sitting down, opening the book, writing 1 line, tying your shoes, walking 10 minutes, dialing the number, asking about another's day. Repetition does not kill passion. It is the furrow where passion takes root. Be thankful for flat roads between the bends, for on the even paths you gather distance with less strain. Create your peace index. List 10 small things that help peace return. listening to a soft song, pouring a warm cup of water, breathing 4-6-4, reading 2 verses of promise, stepping into sunlight for 3 minutes, touching a plant, praying for another, walking slowly down a hallway, washing your hands and watching the water flow, whispering, "I am present." When chaos pulls you in, open the list and choose one. Peace is a door. There are many keys. Carry them with you. Do not forget to work with your body as a collaborator of time. The brain's golden hours differ from the body's. Align them. Morning mind, sharp, deep work. Noon energy, dip, steady work. Afternoon fatigue, light work. Evening heart, quiet, reflection, affection, worship. Don't fight biology, ride its rhythm. The wise don't just ask what, but when I also want to heal your relationship with the phrase, not enough time. Often not enough means you are trying to fit another person's life into your own calendar. Return the roles that aren't yours. I have not called you to play every part. I have called you to live fully in the one I wrote for you. When you stop performing someone else's role, you will find you have plenty of time to be yourself in me. And strangely, that is when you will serve others best. Practice slow, intentional walking through the spaces that tempt you to rush doorways, elevators, crosswalks, dinner tables. At each one ask, "How can I be kind?" for 10 seconds. Hold the door, smile, say thank you, pick up what was dropped. 10 seconds of kindness slows time in the most beautiful way. It pulls eternity down to touch the ordinary. I see those 10 seconds, and I bless them as richly as hours of labor. Learn to transform waiting. Waiting becomes a leak of time when surrendered to anxiety, but it becomes a generator of light when surrendered to awareness. Use those pauses as holy resistance. Read a saved passage. Jot 3 ideas. Pray 3 names. Stretch your shoulders. Watch the sky. Not every moment must be doing. Sometimes it is enough simply to see life flowing, your lungs breathing, and your God still present. Finally, about your inner voice, the harsh manager and the lazy critic are both poor teachers. I want your voice to carry the tone of grace with firmness. We will do the next right thing. When you slip, that sentence does not scold, it calls you home. When you succeed in a small step, it does not boast. It smiles and moves forward. Time does not yield to pressure, it responds to faithfulness. My child, build a reserve fund for the unexpected. Leave 3 10-minute buffers every day. Good surprises will have space to sprout. Hard surprises will have space to cool. A schedule without margin is like soil without air. No matter how good the seed, it cannot take root. Margin is not waste. Margin is the wisdom of a faithful steward. Likewise, at week's end, perform a gentle washing of memory. Spend 1 hour reviewing your week. What gave life? What drained it? What should I repeat? What should be released? Adjust. Do not accuse. The aim is not to do more, but to do truer things. I delight when you learn from experience, for learning this way is how you honor the gift of time I've given. Understand the grace of Sabbath. It is not merely pausing one day, but living the entire week as one who knows a day belongs wholly to me. On that day, you do not rush to finish. You stop when it is enough. You do not prove worth through output. You receive worth as a gift. You do not run, you sit. You do not scroll, you see. You do not perform, you feel. The Sabbath is the cool spring that keeps the river of the week alive. Those who neglect the spring will find the river dry. Do not confuse busy with fruitful. Busy means a full calendar. Fruitful means love flows. Busyness breeds pride or exhaustion. Fruitfulness breeds gentleness and endurance. Ask at day's end, who was loved more because I existed today? If one name surfaces, the day was not wasted. Heaven measures time by names, not numbers. And when regret for lost years or wasted hours rises, bring it to this promise: I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten. Joel 2:25. My restoration does not rewind clocks, it multiplies wisdom. It makes coming harvests heavier, your shoulders steadier, your vision clearer. I repay not in replicas but in ratios of growth. Do not let regret corrode the soil, let expectancy enrich it. Finally, seal this covenant now with one small act. Choose one fixed hour today for your most essential task and guard it as you would a child crossing the street. 10 minutes before silence the noise. 5 minutes later, give thanks. By doing this, you lay the first stone of the bridge that carries intentions into life. Tomorrow, repeat. No drama, just steady steps. Steady steps will lead you out of the fog of haste into the light of obedience. I stand at tomorrow's gate smiling softly as I watch you walk with purpose. Redeeming time does not make you a machine. It makes you human again, one who loves, rests, gives, and creates. Live this way, and even ordinary moments will glow. Then you will hear the words your heart has longed for. Well done, good and faithful servant. For in my kingdom every minute touched by faithfulness carries the fragrance of glory. Now, my beloved, the next bend in our journey is no longer about clocks or calendars, but about the quiet forge within the soul, the place where what is precious in you is refined from its dross. You have learned to redeem time. Now I will teach you not to waste pain, not to let trials scar meaninglessly, not to let pressure suffocate hope, but distill it into essence. There is a gentle, unbreakable law in my realm. Everything I plan to use long I refine deep. Everything I lift high I first anchor low. So do not wave away the heat. Sit beside the furnace and hear me explain the fire. Have you seen the olive green, glossy under the sun, but oil does not flow from appearance? It flows when the fruit meets the press, when steady pressure breaks the skin and releases what lies within. Likewise, the grape's fragrance does not turn to wine through leafy abundance, but through crushing, fermenting, and waiting in the dark. I am not cruel when I bring you into the press. I am teaching you how essence emerges from shells too small for your new stature. You say, I wish to remain whole. I answer, I do not want you shattered. I want you opened. Breaking scatters, opening releases. The difference lies in the hands that hold you. My hands know the weight, the pause, the tenderness of one who shapes while embracing. There will be moments when the fire burns brightest right after you have said yes. Do not doubt that, yes. Remember, fire tests, gold trials test faith. The tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes, though refined by fire, will result in praise, honor, and glory. 1 Peter 1:7. The fire in my hands does not consume your destiny. It consumes the cords that tie you to the small. It eats away at roots gone rotten dries. The moss of fear clears the mildew of doubt. And when the ash settles, what remains is the solid core able to bear the weight of new grace. If you look at fire through the memory of pain, you will flee. But if you look at fire through the memory of my hands, you will stay and learn to breathe with the glow. Look again at an old yet ever new story. The 3 young men thrown into the furnace, the flames fanned, 7 times hotter, Daniel 3. They did not compromise to avoid fire. They stood firm to meet the one who appears in it. The outcome was not burned skin or singed hair. It was broken chains and exalted honor. See it now. The right fire does not burn people. It burns the ropes. The cords that bind you, fear of judgment, obsession with control, the habit of delay, dependence on praise, will not fall off by logic alone. They soften like wet ropes that soil your hands the more you struggle. But when you pass through the heat of honesty, discipline, and necessary refusals, they shrink, crack, and fall. You are not destroyed, you are delivered. The furnace is rarely dramatic. Most flames arrive as small, steady frictions. A critique when you're tired, a delay, despite careful planning, a misunderstanding of your best effort, a relationship that requires you to yield first. Don't despise these frictions. A blade is not sharpened by one blow but by repeated patient strokes on stone. Each encounter, if placed in my hands, hones your edge without breaking it. Complain and the edge dulls. Rely only on yourself and it warps. Throw the blade away and you lose your tool. But hand it to the craftsman. I know the angle, the pressure, the count of strokes that keep the edge keen and the steel intact. Now learn another face of fire, the temperature of exposure. Fire reveals where strength is true and where repair is due. It exposes the inner corners. You can't see in cool weather the quiet anger of control, the fear of being unseen, the vanity disguised as taste, the pride dressed in excellence. Do not be ashamed when you see them. Be grateful that you see in time. Shame covers the blight so worms keep feeding. Gratitude brings the plant to light where healing starts. As you face what's shown, I'll point out which nails to pull, which braces to set, which cracks to fill. And before you call me strict, remember I am both physician and architect. Every instruction aims at your health and your future load. Bearing, you say, but I'm tired, I know. Fatigue signals rest, not withdrawal. Rest here does not mean fleeing the furnace. It means learning to stand at its rim warm, not scorched, where I sit beside you, fanning gently, wiping the sweat from your brow. Let me teach you to rest within refining release, needless explanations. Let go of what's beyond reach. Hush the side talk in your head. Practice recovery rituals. Walk beneath trees, drink water slowly, lay your hand on your chest, and whisper a promise. Not all exhaustion comes from work, much comes from self-judgment. When you turn down the inner loudspeaker of the critic, you will hear my voice, not shouting, not pushing, only inviting. Come with me. In the furnace, you'll also meet the delay of glory, the gap between faithful labor and visible result. That gap is like the hour before dawn, the rest between blending and pouring. Do not break the kiln to check. Do not lift the lid too soon. Every impatience releases fragrance prematurely. Every doubt weakens the ferment. This is when you train the muscle of endurance, the one that keeps posture when standing long. Endurance is not gritted silence. It's conversation with me, while waiting, trading, each anxious knock for a word of thanks, a small kindness, a steady step on schedule. You'll discover that time once thought empty is full when you stop staring at mirrors and start washing dishes. To those who stay in the fires class, I grant the density of soul. It's a weight hard to describe but easy to feel. When you speak, words carry. When you enter, the room calms. When you decide, hearts rest. Such depth can't be bought or borrowed. It distills from faithfulness, from small yeses, from moments you choose. Love over being right, truth over polish, endurance over speed. When the soul grows dense, gossip wins, can't snap it rain, only cleans its sun, merely reveals its grain. Then the blessing I place in your hands becomes safe, neither flaunted to break, nor hidden in fear, nor wasted in pride. Also learn to read the exit signs of fire. Not every furnace requires you to stay until ashes cool. Sometimes the lesson is done, yet you linger addicted to pain, believing more suffering is virtue. Virtue isn't in prolonged pain, but in right obedience. Enter when I say enter. Leave when I open the door. The exit signs, peace returning, though nothing outside has changed. A softened heart toward the one who hurt you. A prayer shifting from take it away to use it. Eyes facing the future without building monuments to the past. When these appear, step out, don't miss the door. Wash your face, eat a meal, hug someone, laugh once. That laugh is your certificate signed by me. Never forget, the furnace opens directly into the hall of song. Those who endure the fire don't sing to perform. They sing because their lungs have learned to breathe in heat. They don't sing to hide pain. They sing because they've seen meaning through it. and when they do, their melody carries the timbre of having been through a tone every wounded heart recognizes and finds comfort in. I am shaping that timbre in you now, so your voice will ring not like hollow brass, but like solid bronze, deep, resonant, steady, calling others home to peace. So if today you hear the fire crackle around you, do not panic. Tell me what you fear, what you miss, what you hope for. I hear it all. Then place your hand in mine and let me lead you through, not running, not sneaking, but walking upright. And when you step out the far door, you will smell something new, the sweet, lasting scent of wood cured by smoke. That is the fragrance I will weave into your work, your words, your encounters. And you will know not as theory but as truth lived that we rejoice in suffering, knowing that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope, and hope does not disappoint. Romans 5:3-5. When hope has become your very posture, you will stand where you once fell without trembling, hold what I give, without grasping love, without fear of loss. Then the furnace will have finished its work, not to leave you scarred, but to leave you radiant. My child, now, I am drawing you from the edge of observation into the very forge, where the hammer's rhythm becomes a language, where sparks leap only to fade into cool air, where raw iron learns its purpose. Here even the roar and the silence between two strikes belong to the same design, the rhythm of refining. The first lesson is rhythm fire, strike, quench, rest. Fire softens, striking shapes, quenching seals strength. Resting lets both the metal and the smith breathe. When you face trial, do not think I know only one motion. I am the master craftsman. I know when to raise the heat, when to lower my hand, when to submerge you in quiet, so that new veins within you may lock. Trials are cyclical. They do not last forever. If you cooperate with grace, each cycle leaves a stronger pattern, crystalline faith forged inside your soul, the cry of shaping. Next, learn to accept the cry of metal under formation. Iron groans not because it is ruined, but because it is changing shape. So does the soul, your sleepless nights, your questions that rise unbidden, your chest tight with ache. These are not failures. They are the sound of transformation. Don't silence yourself with false calm. Bring your cry to me as David did, lamenting and trusting, falling and reaching in the same breath. Holy lament is not complaint. It is the pouring out that makes room for peace to enter. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. The ancient words still hold for you, need a footing higher than the tide of emotion, reading the signs of the fire. Some flames come from outside, adversity, delay, injustice. Others burn from within, pride, fear of being forgotten, hunger for control. The outer fire teaches endurance. The inner fire teaches humility. Be patient with the first, repent within the second. Patience without repentance becomes stubbornness. Repentance without patience becomes self-condemnation. Each time heat rises, ask, where is this fire from? What do you want me to learn? If it is outer fire, pray, give me perseverance. If it is inner fire, pray, align my heart with truth. The right prayer lowers both kinds of flames. Loosening your grip. Now learn the art of loosening your hands on the wheel. At sharp turns, the tighter you grip, the more the tires skid. Sometimes you must release just enough for traction to return. Your instinct is to control, to script responses, to pre-write outcomes. But my kingdom moves by trust and step, not plan, and squeeze. Loosening isn't apathy. It is yielding space for grace to flow through the cracks of tension. When you loosen, good surprises find landing. Others breathe easier, and you can finally hear my voice beneath your pulse. Apprentices in the forge. There is always an apprentice beside the smith. You need such a soul near your life, someone who has walked through fire without letting smoke cling to their heart. They won't give shortcuts, they'll give rhythm. They won't flatter, they'll show you the angle of the hammer. Pray that I send them, and for humility to learn. Then in time, let me turn you into an apprentice for others. Not because you're flawless, but because you remember the way out of the fire. Shared fire is managed fire, the bridge between furnace and calling. You often think calling is the stage and fire is backstage. Not so. Calling is how you stand in the fire. A true doctor is shaped by difficult cases. A writer matures through painful edits. A leader ripens through moments of owning responsibility instead of shifting blame. Every field has its forge, and the right forge makes you kind. Kindness isn't weakness. It is strength under control. When you step out, speaking gently, withholding quick judgment, listening with a calm heart, that's the sign the fire did its work well. Tools for the heat. I place in your hands a toolkit, promises community, gentle discipline, and remembered grace. Promises tie you to heaven's beam. Community is the water bucket passed hand to hand. Gentle discipline keeps body and mind from tearing. Recorded memory becomes a firewall against lies. On overheated days, read an old page of my rescue call. A praying friend. Sleep properly. Eat honestly. Walk beneath trees. Return to the verse that once saved you. These simple human acts are pipes through which living water runs into your drought. Forgiveness, the safety valve. Learn to forgive as a survival skill inside the furnace. Without forgiveness, your heart is a pan of oil. Every stray spark sets it ablaze. Forgiveness doesn't deny pain. It removes your hand from the matchbox. Practice forgiving in 3 directions: others for what they knew or didn't know, yourself for clumsy choices now past, and life itself for not following your script. Forgiveness is the release valve. Open it in time and the furnace won't explode. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors is not only a command, it is safety equipment. Humility versus self-depreciation. Do not confuse humility with self-erasure. Humility stands at truth's right size, small enough to learn, large enough to carry weight. Self-depreciation is a lie about what I placed in you. The forge will test your humility. Can you admit wrong without erasing your worth? Receive praise without inflation. Stand in your place, no higher, no lower, without comparison. Such humility is tempered, steel, flexible but not soft, strong but not hard, avoiding unnecessary fire. Finally, about pain prolonged for no reason. Some suffering lingers simply because you refuse to change habits. You stay up too late, rehearse imaginary arguments, swallow bitterness like candy, push your body beyond grace, and then call it holy trial. No, that is a furnace you lit yourself. Close those unnecessary furnaces, sleep on time, unfollow what poisons your peace. End the endless self-trial, see a healer if needed. Grace does not erase consequence. Grace grants power to change patterns. Changing patterns shuts half the fires of life. And when you do, the forge will no longer feel like punishment but partnership, the place where I and you work together to shape something, enduring something that can bear the weight of glory. There will be moments when you find yourself like Jacob, wrestling through the night, afraid yet thirsty for blessing. That wrestle ended with a single touch to the hip, and from that day he walked with a limp, but he carried a new name. Refining does the same, it gives you a new gait. No more impulsive rushing but steady maturity. No more swinging your arms wide but measured strength. No more running aimlessly but walking straight. That gait doesn't dazzle in a moment, but over distance it wins, like an endurance runner who knows how to keep breath and pace. My child, when the fire cools, beware of post-furnace temptation. After you pass a test, you're prone to loosen discipline. After you receive a blessing, you're prone to drop your guard. After you're praised, the old self's voice grows loud again. So create a small ritual after every furnace. Give thanks, humble yourself, and ask 3 questions. What did I learn? What will I keep? What will I let go? Then share it with a trusted person. That ritual is like the final bolt on a newly fitted doorframe. It keeps the winds from prying it open. And remember, don't tell too soon when the seed is still damp. Let the wood dry before you light it for others. Then they will be warmed, and you won't smell of smoke. Finally, I lay my hand on your shoulder and say this: you are a jar of clay that holds a treasure. 2 Corinthians 4:7. The jar is not despised because it is clay. It is honored because of what it carries. The furnace is not to turn clay into porcelain, but to keep the clay from cracking when the treasure grows heavier. I prepare you for big things, not by making you glitter, but by making you able to bear glory. When the weight comes, you will not crack from showing off. You will not sink from fear. You will not shatter from loneliness because you were fired at the right heat. So if today the hammer is still ringing, stay where you are and count the rhythm with me. Heat, strike, quench, rest. Whisper in your breath, I agree. Each time you agree, the sparks sting less. The curve becomes cleaner, the blade sharper. And one day I will lift you from the anvil, wipe off the soot, and place in your handwork that matches your new shape, cutting chains off others, smoothing the rough edges of stories, dividing the bread in right measures. You will realize the furnace was never wasteful. It shaped you into a tool that fits the master's hand, so that when I use you, the sound is not harsh but resonant. We have stood long enough by the forge to know the flame is not the enemy. Now it is time to step out, hands still warm, eyes still bright, heart carrying the lesson. Pain can become construction. I want to close this part with a post-furnace rule of life principles that are flexible yet firm, so the training will not stay at the level of emotion, but enter your structure, becoming the backbone of your coming days. First, acknowledge the dignity of the season you just walked through. Don't call it the dark phase as if it was pointless. Call it the season of purification. The language you use will shape the memory you keep. Name it rightly, and the memory becomes a storehouse. Name it poorly, and it becomes a swamp that drags your feet. Write down 3 things the fire gave you: a new habit, a weakness identified, and a deeper compassion. Write them, so truth stays put, and so on future windy nights you'll still have a piece of bread and a sip of water for your soul. You'll see the simple act of naming quiets the restless urge to go dig through ashes. Next, learn to circulate the warmth. Heat that isn't turned into life will turn into irritability. Turn heat into motion. Help someone who's stumbling at the exact spot you once fell. Give a book that helped raise you up. Write an unsent letter of forgiveness. Offer a listening space that asks for no return. When you give it away, you actually lock the lesson in yourself. What you release doesn't reduce you. It anchors value into your bloodstream. We are comforted so that we can comfort. That pipeline is how I prevent grace from becoming a stagnant pond and make it a river. Then set up peace checkpoints in places that used to trigger old reactions: at the meeting room door before opening a distracting app, at the dinner table where conversations can spark in front of the mirror each morning. At each spot, pause 10 seconds. Place your hand on your chest and ask, what weight is pulling me right now? If it's fear, exhale and hand it to me with a short sentence. If it's peace, proceed. 10 seconds is cheap, but it saves an hour. It's like a thin chalk line that separates the court of grace from the court of impulse. I also want you to sign a persistence pact with your gentle disciplines. Keep doing what keeps you in the furnace. Proper sleep, clean water, walks under trees, a short journal page, a brief prayer. Don't turn off the water valves just because the fire has gone down. You'll be surprised these small rituals are the anti-vibration beams of your life bridge. When traffic speeds up, the bridge won't wobble to collapse. Structure is grace in architectural form. It's not flashy, but it saves what is beautiful from falling. One more thing, re-sign your covenant with truth. The furnace showed you inner corners. Don't let them fade. Once a week, take 15 minutes to walk through 3 questions. What am I avoiding? What am I pretending? What do I need help with? Truth does not make you uglier. It releases the energy trapped in denial. When you tell the truth to me, you're putting the key in the right lock. When you tell the truth to a wise person, you're opening the window for fresh air. It is time to loosen your grip on the control script and embrace the trust blueprint. You used to want to write every chapter ahead. Now write each page faithfully. The difference matters. Writing every chapter is your attempt to guarantee the ending. Writing each page is your partnership with me in the process. When you live page by page, you are less disappointed by the chapters. When you are faithful on the page, I will safeguard the chapter. Where you don't see a way, I will make a way. Where you thirst, I will make rivers in the desert. Isaiah 4:3-19. Let that word become the heartbeat of your advance. You also need a boundary map, so you don't step outside your assigned field. Draw the borders of your current calling, what you're invited to say to do and whom to care for. Outside that, don't intrude even out of zeal. Another person's fire is not always your furnace. Sometimes your grace is simply to point them to their forge, not to drag them into yours. When you honor these edges, you will preserve strength for battles that matter, instead of burning out in confrontations born of hidden pride or of the savior complex. I give you now a sign reading method to discern when to move and when to stand. 3 coordinated signs: the word, the peace, and the door. Word does this step. Contradict what I have already said. Peace. When you picture this step, do you settle inside or churn? Door, is there actually an opening big enough to walk through? If the word agrees, peace is present and a door is open. Go. If one of the 3 is dim, stop or wait. This keeps you from being driven by crowds or moods. It sets you in the rhythm of the right time, my good timing. Now do one strong but silent act. Forgive your past for not following your script. You have forgiven people and yourself, yet you still hold a grievance against life. Why did it happen like that? Forgiving life is pulling that arrow of resentment out of the wall of conscience. The wall stops vibrating and my voice becomes clearer. If you don't forgive, you will live half-turned against your own life, and that is the deepest tiredness. Forgive, and you move from confrontation to conversation, and conversation with me opens doors of understanding. I also want you to train a praise reflex. Not praise to deny reality, but praise to reset the axis. Every time a small friction comes, missed ride, minor task failed, misunderstood word whisper, Lord, I thank you that you are shaping me stronger than this. That sentence is the steering move that keeps you from hitting the guardrail of irritation. Rightly placed praise is not sentimental, it is the maneuver of a seasoned driver. Let's talk now about your post-furnace posture. You don't have to look tough, and you don't have to retell everything with sharp edges. A healthy posture is like a craftsman walking out of the workshop, hands still streaked with black, but eyes smiling, ready to do the work assigned. You speak less but hit truer. You promise less but do more. You blame less but intercede more. Your quiet is not emptiness. It is the background that lets the melody of peace be heard. And here is the commission I write on your heart. Like a red seal, you are called to carry the atmosphere of rest into places where fire is burning wrong. Not to splash water in panic, but to cool the room by full presence. Not to shout at the flames, but to adjust the heat source in those little stoves of pride and fear. You will do it with 3 tools: deep listening words that are straight yet gentle, and small consistent actions. When these 3 are carried by the fragrance of one who has passed through fire, they will build safe rooms, places where others dare to lay their ashes on the table without being judged. You ask, what are the signs that I'm ready to move on to the next part? These are good signs. You can retell the past season without bitterness. You can look at the person who hurt you without putting them on trial. You can speak about the future without forcing God to sign your calendar. You can rejoice over today's small portion without letting go of long vision. If those signs have begun to show, you are ready. Wash your face, tie your shoes, open the door. At the threshold, I remind you of an old, ever-new word. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. Isaiah 4:3-2. Not because you won't face water or fire, but because I am there. My beloved, this is now the time of doors, not the kind whose hinges clang in the town square, but the quiet wooden frames in the hallway of inner life, opened by a single key piece. You have come through the furnace. You have learned the rhythm of redeeming time. You have understood that wounds can become sources. Now I invite you to press your ear to the wall of a new day and listen to the soft movement of heaven's hinge. My doors do not need others to validate them. They do not need neon signs or fireworks in the sky. My doors often open like dawn, not startling, not loud, yet bright enough for the watchful to notice. And here is the first mark of a door that is mine. When you stand before it, your heart settles. Not numbs, but settles, because an invisible order has just fallen into place. To go through the right door, you must learn to read the alphabet of peace. That alphabet is written very small. Only those who walk slowly can read it. You ask, how do I tell true peace from self-soothing peace? Try this. Imagine yourself actually walking through the door. If peace stays after 5 minutes of imagining, if it doesn't change color when your mind starts listing risks, that is real peace. If it vanishes as soon as you start thinking, it may only be the pleasant feeling of escaping current pressure. My peace can stand under the light of examination. False peace survives only in the shade of haste. The peace of God which surpasses all understanding, Philippians 4:7, does not mean you bypass reason. It means that after reason has done its work, the heart is still, like a lake beneath a mountain. My door has another mark. It fits your stride. You walk in and realize the height, the width, the light of the room inside seem tailor-made. Not because everything is easy, but because everything is right. The right work has sweat, but does not rob the soul. The right responsibility has weight, but does not break your back. The right relationship has friction, but does not demand that you betray your essence. The wrong door does the opposite. It forces you to hunch, to change shape, to stretch yourself along a pattern designed by fear. The right door allows you to bring the posture you learned in the furnace straight in without a mask. Don't expect every right door to swing wide. Sometimes I open a sliver door just enough for you to slip through. Sliver doors force you to drop what is bulky, the habit of over-explaining the armor for image protection, the bag of what-ifs. Through narrow doors you learn purification, keeping what is needed for calling, laying down what was feeding the self. Each time you squeeze through, you get lighter, not because you lack, but because you are exact. Do not fear the long hallways between doors. Many, when walking through a hallway, panic at the white walls, the empty floor, the soft yellow light, no bustling noise, no loud signs. They think they are lost. But the hallway is where I recalibrate your breathing, straighten your posture, and teach you to hear guidance not from billboards, but from the plumb line inside. Practice hallway liturgy. Walk slow, breathe deep. Repeat 3 short sentences. I am present. I trust. I am ready. That short is enough to silence the hurry that wants you to break any door, just to stop the emptiness. I will show you 3 common kinds of doors. First, the doing door. It opens into a work, a project, a collaboration. Its sign. Your schedule can naturally make room for it. Your skills have soil to pitch their tent, and most of all, your love increases while doing it. Second, the people door. This is a timed meeting. They are not angels, but they bring the missing piece for your puzzle. It signs sincerity without strain, few words but accurate mutual respect without performance. Third, the understanding door. It doesn't change what you do or who you meet today, but it changes where you stand inside. It gives you a new way to read the same facts. Its sign is a little O that pulls a string of decisions loose. Some doors I open by, you're knocking, you knock with small obediences. Every time you do the next right thing, you knock once. Every time you choose truth over pleasing ears, you knock again. Every time you refuse manipulation to choose trust, you add another knock. When your knocking rhythm matches my timing, the lock clicks. You will see the door opened, not because you shouted, but because you knocked on tempo. I know you worry. What if I enter the wrong one? My child, remember, grace walks through doors with you. If you misstep, I do not slam behind you and laugh. I soften that room, open a side door, and teach you to read signs more clearly. A handwriting author doesn't tear up the whole page over one ink blot. I fix the sentence. I don't cancel the story. So walk with reverence, but don't walk paralyzed. Reverence keeps you from carelessness. Trust keeps you from freezing. On the way to the door, you will meet fake signposts. The noise of people's expectations, glittering invitations, or your own impatience dressed up as vision. Put every sign beside these three questions. Does it contradict the word when I think about it? Does peace grow heavier or lighter? What does it promise me, position or purpose? If it promises position without purpose, smile and walk past. You don't have to stop and explain. You just have to keep your pace. I also teach you the doorway etiquette. When you step in, bow in gratitude, grateful for the right timing, grateful that old furnaces taught you to carry the right fire, grateful for the people who held you to the threshold. Gratitude mutes the footsteps of the ego so the new room doesn't echo with pride. Then walk around and touch the walls of the task like a craftsman, surveying what must be reinforced, what must be kept open for light, where must the prayer table go. New rooms are not for showing off, new rooms are for serving. When you grasp that everything will fall into its right place, and those who enter your room will feel lighter. Sometimes the door I open leads you into a place without a glory sign, only a start again sign. Do not be disappointed. Start again is grace. It lets you do slowly what you once did in a rush. It lets you lay foundations deeper and thicker. Do not fear repetition. Right repetition is not stagnation. It is like swimming one more lap to build muscle fiber, like playing the scale again to set the fingers for the hard piece. I will give you a secret, set up a guidance altar, right inside the new room, a simple corner with the word, a notebook, and a quiet chair. Each morning before doing anything else in the room, sit there for 3 minutes. Those 3 minutes keep the room from becoming a warehouse of busyness. A room with an altar will carry the scent of the holy, not the scent of ritual, but the scent of a place where real conversation has happened. Anyone who comes in will sense, even if they can't explain it, that here there is a vertical line tying earth to heaven. Don't overlook the gatekeepers I send to you. They might be a friend who says something direct but gentle, an older believer who lays a hand on your shoulder and prays, or even a child who asks a question so simple it makes you stop. Gatekeepers don't have power the way the world defines it. They have authority because they stay close to me. When they speak, there is weight. Be humble enough to ask, "What do you see when you look at me and this door?" Their words don't replace your decision, but they work like a mirror that shows you the stains you can't see. And this is what I want you to remember. My doors always lead to others getting to live. If a door promises you spotlight but leaves a whole row of darkness behind you, darkness in your home, in your health, in your conscience, be careful. I do not change your destiny by turning lights off around you. I light the place where you stand, and that light, even if narrow, is enough for the one beside you to see the path. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, Matthew 5:1-4. The right door turns you into a steady light, not a one-time firework. Now stand in front of the nearest door that's slightly open. Breathe in. Put your hand on the doorknob as though putting your hand into mine. Repeat the lesson of the furnace: no rushing, no fear, no masks. Whisper, "Lord, I agree to walk only in the way you show." As you turn the knob, the hinge will make a small sound, just enough for your heart to know the time has come. The first step doesn't have to be long, it has to be right. And then when the new room receives you, you will recognize the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere of peace that has become thick of hope, that has ripened of a life learning to speak the language of heaven right in the middle of earth. From here you will keep meeting other doors of doing of people of understanding, and each time the marks will be the same. The word is not violated, peace is present, the door fits. Walk like that, my child. I am right here, both the one who opens and the way itself, my beloved child. After the door opens and you step in, the first thing is not to decorate but to measure the rhythm. Every new room has its own acoustics, a wall that bounces noise back, a corner that absorbs peace, a window that receives light at certain hours. Walk around slowly, lay your hand on the walls like a craftsman testing the mortar, and listen to where something needs reinforcing, where something should be left empty, where just a chair and a page of reading are enough. Don't rush to fill every space. Empty space is the lungs of the room. A wise life is like that too. Don't cram in so many goals that there's no place left to breathe. Set up the vertical axis first, the quiet altar where you meet me, and only then set up the horizontal axis, the work table, the table for eating, the table for conversation. The vertical keeps the center of gravity. The horizontal lets things flow. When the center is steady, everything else will find its reasonable place in the day. The next step is to write the charter of the new room, a few short, clear lines stating what this room exists to do. You can write, "This place is for serving, not for proving. Here truth is spoken in love. Here unhurried pace is honored." Those sentences are like discreet signboards, reminding you whenever your heart wants to race after comparison or to show off. A room with a charter will be less chaotic when guests come and less tangled when you're tired. Because the greatest temptation in a new space is to turn it into a stage pretty applauded but exhausting and short-lived. I did not open the door for you to perform. I opened it for you to do the work appointed in peace. Now choose 3 identity, tasks that will be done regularly in this room. 3, not 10. These are the tasks that, if done consistently, will keep the room smelling right, the scent of service, of creativity, of healing. It might be write 1 page every morning, make 1 uplifting phone call every afternoon, and read the word for 15 minutes before closing the day. 3 tasks like 3 hardwood pillars holding up the roof. Everything else, no matter how fast it grows, should grow around those pillars. When storms come, the roof stays. When sun is fierce, the shade remains. Don't be afraid of few. Few and steady will outlast many and scattered. I want to talk to you about the stream of people that will pass through your door. The right door doesn't just welcome opportunities, it welcomes real people. Some will come bringing gratitude, some will come bringing questions, some will come bringing trouble. Sort them gently, those of assignment and those of season. Assignment people are the ones facing the same direction as you. They may not have your pace, but they share your horizon. Pour in deeply, even if slowly. Seasoned people are those I send for a short stretch. Be kind, but don't bind each other with unspoken expectations. This distinction will protect your heart from disappointment and your calendar from overload. And always remember, every person is a mystery. Don't try to bend them to fit your mold. Listen to them with the ears of respect. In the new room there will be a strange volume: praise, feedback, and silence. Praise, if not weighed, will puff the self up like dough with too much yeast. Feedback, if not filtered through love, will become claws scratching the wall. Silence, if misunderstood, will turn into accusation. So use 3 jars: the jar of thanksgiving, the jar of discernment, and the jar of release. Praise, pour it into thanksgiving. Thank you, Lord. Glory to you. Feedback, pour it into discernment. What is true, I'll adjust. What is not, I give back to you. Silence, pour it into release. I don't live for noise. When these 3 jars are in use, the walls won't stain, the floor won't dent, the door won't stick. You will meet right things at the wrong time. A new room invites generosity. A warm heart wants to open more windows, dig more wells. Remember this principle: go deep before you go wide. Don't rush to launch when the foundation isn't cured. Don't rush to promise much when the lesson is still forming. A vineyard pruned at the start of the season looks poor, but at the end it's heavy with clusters. Pruning is a declaration that you trust the future more than the current look. If you hear me say, wait, it's not rejection, it's proofing. Dough that is proofed on time will rise on time and won't split. I also want to equip you with a room emergency panel, the signals that show you're pushing past the threshold of peace. They show up in very human ways: broken sleep, sharper tone, joy in the work, turning into burden, more social smiles than true laughter, prayers shrinking into formality. When these appear, don't add more, subtract. Don't add explanations, add silence. Don't add social media, add a walk. A new room needs a cool-down switch, a clear ritual power down. Close the notebook, give thanks, step outside, look at the sky. 10 minutes can save a week sometimes, a calling. I put in your heart a window eye, so you can look far without forgetting near. Once a month, sit by that window, review the charter, review the 3 identity tasks, ask 3 questions. Is this still right? What needs trimming? What needs strengthening? Don't fear adjustments. Adjustment is what keeps you in orbit. Invite a trusted person to sit with you so they can be your mirror. Am I doing the right thing for the right reason? A good mirror helps you fix your collar before going out. In the room, you will have thresholds: the start of a project, the end of a season, the welcoming of a coworker, the speaking of a no. 10. Each threshold should have a ritual. To start, pray, make a minimalist plan, set a review point. To end, summarize honestly, give thanks, name the lesson, celebrate small. To welcome, present the charter, clarify expectations, agree on pace. To say no, tell the truth, tell it early, tell it gently, and leave the door ajar for future fit. Ritual isn't pretentious, it is a kindness to the soul so it doesn't get whiplash and your kindness doesn't shatter. I want to teach you the art of locking. Opening rightly is an art. Locking rightly is an art too. Some doors must be shut so the room keeps its right smell. The door of gossip, the door of rivalry, the door of cool-sounding projects far from the charter. Locking isn't hatred. Locking is protection. Write down 3 things you won't do, 3 places you won't go, 3 topics you won't argue about, not because they're evil, but because they don't belong to this room. Clear boundaries make compassion durable. My child, you ask again about the door of man, how to recognize a companion who endures. Their mark in a room speaks louder than their words. They thicken peace instead of thinning it. They make you more genuine, not more performative. They help you remember the charter, not drift from it. They are willing to lift chairs, wash cups, and open doors for others. Seek such people and become such a person in someone else's room. Bring more light, not more shadow. Bring more order, not more noise. Bring more prayer, not more gossip. I know you fear the long silence in the room, when the phone does not ring, when emails do not arrive, when invitations do not appear. Silence is not a threat. Silence is the season of roots. Use it to dig deep, read slowly, write slowly, pray slowly, tend to those near you. When roots grow deep, fruit can withstand wind. Do not replace silence with random noise just to ease the fear. Replace fear with trust. Be still and know that I am God. That ancient word still steadies the nerves, slows the heart, and sharpens the eyes of the spirit. Fix this simple sentence to the ceiling above you. Purpose is greater than position. Each time you lift your head, see it, and remember, I did not lead you here to climb ladders of recognition, but to ascend the stairs of love. Measure a week, not by how often your name was mentioned, but by how many left your presence with brighter eyes, lighter burdens, and clearer choices. Heaven counts by names, not by applause. And at last practice the blessing in divided by out. Each morning as you open the door, speak blessing over the space. May this place be filled with truth, peace, and love. Each evening as you close it, bless whoever will cross tomorrow, perhaps yourself, perhaps another, that I will send. May whoever steps through this threshold tomorrow hear the right whisper from God. Such blessings soften the floor, warm the light, and smooth the edges of the table. They turn mere furnishings into instruments of grace. The new room is ready for a life that is quiet but deep, unhurried but steadfast, hidden but fruitful. You now have your vertical and horizontal axes, your charter, and rhythm, your companions and boundaries. What remains is the simplest and hardest task, daily faithfulness. Faithfulness keeps the fragrance of the room true through all seasons. Faithfulness makes the next doorway, when it comes, a natural extension, not a sharp turn. He has made everything beautiful in its time, Ecclesiastes 3:1-1. Your part is to guard the time here from being stolen by haste or pride. Light the small lamp, open your notebook, place your hand on your heart, and whisper, I agree. Then the room will become not only the place you work, but the place where heaven quietly flows through human life, beginning with you. Now, my child, when the door has opened and the room has settled into rhythm, I will teach you the art of governing entrances and exits, the art of the key keeper. This is not merely about what to do in the room, but about how to preserve the climate of the room so that what I have entrusted will not wither from impatience nor rot in the dampness of fear. There are 3 movements every key keeper must learn: inspect, regulate, and transfer. Inspection discerns what is allowed to stay. Regulation keeps the currents from overflowing. Transfer ensures that gifts do not stop with you, but reach the right person at the right time. First, inspection. Each morning before beginning, cross the threshold. As if entering a temple, pause, half a breath, glance around, purpose, people, pace, atmosphere. Ask, is today's purpose still aligned with the charter? If not, correct it with a short prayer. This place exists to serve. Ask who will pass through. Speak their names before me to open your heart. Ask, what pace shall I keep? Decide in advance where to slow down, where to accelerate. Ask, what is the atmosphere? If it feels heavy, do not rush to grab the work. Grab a short hymn, a minute of stillness, a deep breath. With these small acts, you are doing what temple keepers once did, sweeping away invisible dust before worship begins. Regulation is the second step. People and tasks flow like tides, and your heart is the gate. A gate wide open floods, a gate sealed tight dries the land. So I teach you 3 settings: open, half open, and temporarily closed. When an opportunity aligns with the charter, thickens peace and clears the air, like post-rain freshness, open. When an opportunity sounds wonderful but drifts you from your axis, half open, say, let me consider and reply. Then ask me in silence. When an invitation thins peace or bends truth, close. For now, speaking gently but firmly, I will decline this time. The keeper of keys does not fear losing favor. They fear losing the atmosphere of the room. And when the atmosphere is guarded, those who enter will breathe rightly. Transfer is the third step, the movement of generous release. Not everything that passes through your room is meant to stay. Some things pass through to be passed on. Train yourself to ask, does this belong to me, or am I a relay station? If a relay, do not keep it to boast, nor throw it away to avoid effort. Pass it faithfully to the right one. This is how I flow from spring through stream to field. When you become the stream, another's field will flourish, and strangely your own banks will stay cool. I have set before you an open door, which no one can shut, Revelation 3:8. That also applies when you open the door in your hand to the one meant to step through. I want you to grasp a subtle law. The right door does not eliminate friction. The right door produces the right kind of friction. When you stand within a room rightly aligned, the resistances that appear are like exercises that keep your form steady. There will be days when work slows, others misunderstand plans, delay, or resources seem late. Do not call these bad omens and run for another door. See them as elastic bands training your inner strength. Breathe, adjust, and keep taking small steps. Right friction builds inner muscle. The room will withstand the wind without needing to seal all its windows. My child, now we speak of the hallway lamps that glow between doors, the faint signs that guide without blinding. When an idea returns 3 times in 3 different places, sit down and listen. When a relationship makes you love truth more and grow in patience, make space for it to grow. When an invitation makes you shine but leaves a shadow behind, bow your head and walk past. When a task drives you to pray more than to boast, it is often my footprint. The hallway lamps do not flare brightly. They glow just enough for the alert to see direction. I also want you to keep a notebook of unopened doors. Not everything I show you is meant to be done at once. Write it down, date it for later, like a gardener planting bulbs in the right season. The room is not to become a workshop of haste. It is a fermenting place for expectancy. When the season comes, you will reopen the notebook and old pages will carry a new scent, the scent of timing. Then you will act gently, yet effectively, not because you are eager, but because the season has ripened. Beware of the gold dust, the glitter that clings to your hands after a few successes. Gold dust is beautiful, but breathe too much of it and you will cough. The answer is not to deny achievement, but to wash your hands often in the basin of gratitude. Each time you are praised, wash your hands. Thank you, Lord. I return the glory to you. Each time good work is done, wash your hands. I know my part is only a fragment. Each time you rise a step, wash your hands. Keep me from forgetting why I am here. Hands washed regularly will not slip on the handle of pride. You will meet extended silences, stretches without messages, weeks without invitations. Do not mistake this for abandonment. Silence is the oven where bread is proofed. Keep the low flame of your 3 identity works the written page, the encouraging call, the moment in the word. Keep watering the plant. Do not call for rain with random noise. When silence has finished its work, the knock will return clear, but gentle, steadying, rather than startling you. I teach you also the doorway ritual. Leave the room each day like a craftsman leaving the workshop. Gather your tools, wipe the table, record one lesson learned, and entrust the unfinished part to me. Then close the door with a blessing. Tomorrow continue. This ritual trains the heart to leave the task without leaving the mission. It draws a kind boundary between service and rest. Those without ritual sleep with their shoes under the pillow, never truly resting, never truly deepening. As for the gatekeepers, assemble a choir of accord. They need not be many, they must be right. 3 kinds: one who speaks truth softly, one who intercedes faithfully, and one who knows the craft well. Give them permission to tap your shoulder when danger nears, when you drift from the charter, when peace thins, when flattery burns too hot. When one speaks, listen. When all 3 speak, stop. Plans are established by counsel and ancient wisdom still firm today. And do not forget the peephole in the door, the small lens that lets you see before you open wide. The soul's peephole is a twofold question. Does this make me love God more? Does this make me love people more? If both are yes, open. If one is no, half open or close for now. That double question keeps the door from becoming a carnival gate. It keeps the room from turning into a stage. There will be times you must close a door you truly like. It will hurt. But closing rightly is also worship. You are saying, I choose the door opener over the door. Along the way, you will decline things not because they are evil, but because they are not yours for this season. Each time you do, I will repay with a strange lightness inside, and time will widen before you like a road after rain. You will learn that what feels like loss is often hands freed to carry weightier good. I know you fear the friction of envy around you. The right door shines. Light draws both songbirds and moths. Respond with the calm of one who knows who they are. Keep loving the work, guard the atmosphere, and refuse to wrestle in half-light. Excess explanation is a cloth that catches fire easily. Quiet faithfulness is cool water. If you must speak, speak little and true. If you must act, act much and gently. The keeper of keys does not argue at thresholds. They keep thresholds clean. Now I give you a 3-point tester for every new threshold. The word peace timing. The word does. Scripture oppose this. Peace. When you imagine stepping in, does your heart settle or stir? Timing, is there truly an opening, or are you sketching one on the wall? When all 3 lights are on, go. When one is dark, wait. When 2 flicker, pray longer and seek counsel. This tester does not make you slow without reason. It makes you swift with certainty. I want to teach you the completion point of a season in the room. Signs the lesson has entered your reflexes. Your work now bears fruit in another's hands. Peace no longer fits this room but urges you toward a larger frame. Then you do not tear the curtain and run out. You hold a closing ceremony, review, give thanks, hand over, bless. Then you open the next door quietly, deeply, like leaving a classroom, because you have learned, not because you are bored. At the end of this passage, place your hand on the current doorknob and make this small vow. I will keep this room scented with honesty, warm with love, cool with peace. I will open for what is right, close for what is bent. I will tend the 3 identity works and wash my hands after every glory. Write it in your notebook, 1 copy for the heart, 1 for habit. The keeper of keys is not loud, they are steady. And that steady quietness is what lets door after door open without breaking the feet that walk through them. And here is the seal I press upon your forehead. As a gentle mark I have set before you an open door that no one can shut. No one, not even your impatience, if you will learn my rhythm. Not even your fear, if you will breathe deeply. Not even the voices around you, if you will hold to the charter. Walk on, my child. When you tend the climate of the room, I will tend the season of the garden. When you are faithful with the small key in your hand, I will entrust the larger gate in its time. And each time the handle clicks softly, you will remember the one who opens is also the way. I walk with you in the room, in the hall, at the threshold, and beyond the next door. My beloved child, now I lead you into the construction site of love, not the fleeting emotion that flares and fades, but a structure with foundation, pillars, roof, windows, and even hidden wiring within the walls. The love I design is not a tent hastily pitched by the roadside, but a house that can withstand many seasons of wind, where those inside can grow and those who visit can find warmth. Speak the truth in love. Ephesians 4:1-5 is the shared blueprint for every room here. Truth is the frame, love is the air. If there is a frame without air, the house becomes a cold warehouse. If there is air without a frame, the house collapses. So we build with both. The foundation. The foundation of love is not the first tremor of attraction, nor the dreamy vows whispered in spring light, but a shared purpose. We are together so that both may grow to resemble the one who loved us first. That purpose aligns the maps of 2 souls toward the same north. When anchored in purpose, the detours of self-will lose their pull. Arguments lose their exhaustion because every choice is weighed on the same scale. Does this help us love God more and love people more? If yes, go. If no, pause. If uncertain, wait. Such a foundation will bear the weight of difficult days. The 4 pillars. Upon that foundation stand 4 simple yet weight-bearing columns: reverence, faithfulness, honesty, and service. Reverence means seeing the other's worth beyond their usefulness, not turning them into a project to fix but a mystery to love. Faithfulness is choosing to remain and grow in the same garden, not jumping fences each time the weather shifts. Honesty is daring to speak truth without using the tongue as a blade to let truth heal, not wound. The service is asking daily, what can I do today to make their load lighter? When these four stand firm, the roof will not tremble before rumors, suspicion, or fatigue. Walls and windows. Walls are built from clear boundaries the healthy knows that make the yeses endure. Boundaries are not fortress walls. They are garden fences with gates keeping the soil from being trampled. Windows are channels of communication open to let truth's light in, closed when the storm of gossip passes. Agree on how to speak while the house is still new. When opinions differ, speak calmly, listen fully, ask to understand, summarize, to agree. A small rule: critique the action, not the identity. Words are nails, driven right they hold. Driven wrong they crack the wood. The roof is grace. Without a roof, the house is soaked after one rain. Without grace, relationships are drenched after one mistake. Grace does not erase standards. It shelters while standards are learned. When the other stumbles, grace says, "We'll repair this together." When you stumble, grace says, "You are not your failure." The roof of grace also has vents of humor. A well-timed laugh cools the air of the home. Do not let the house suffocate in unnecessary solemnity. Sometimes a gentle joke is a prayer in disguise. The electrical system. The current of trust runs unseen through the walls, powering every light. Its wiring is consistency, promise. Little do much. Speak softly, act firmly, arrive on time, even for small things. A short circuit begins with a harmless lie. One spark can burn the roof. Test the current regularly with 3 questions. Are we hiding anything? Are we pretending anything? Are we asking for help when needed? The light of trust keeps the home warm, even with doors closed. The plumbing. Forgiveness is the water system. Without flowing water, a house dries up. Without forgiveness, the heart hardens and speech wilts. Forgiveness is circulation received from heaven, given to one another, and received again. Forgiving does not deny pain. It opens the valve so resentment does not stagnate. Practice a weekly drain cleaning. Speak small hurts before they calcify. I'm sorry dissolves residue. Thank you softens the water. I love you keeps the pipes clear. The kitchen. Here nourishment is prepared. Relationships starve when they feed only on rare banquets, but skip daily bread. Cook simple, regular meals, a walk without phones, an hour of shared reading, a prayer hand in hand, a cup of tea recounting the day. Frequent, humble meals are healthier than scattered feasts. In the kitchen, I teach you to watch for the sign of fullness. If your partner shines after a conversation, you've served well. If they fall silent after your feedback, the dish was too salty. The bedroom. Symbol of covenant it is, where respect and tenderness meet. Here the body is not a bargaining chip nor a tool of control, but a language of giving. Lock this door against 2 thieves: comparison and coercion. Comparison kills uniqueness. Coercion kills trust. Gentleness and attentive listening rekindle fire. Remember, true intimacy springs from emotional safety. No one sleeps peacefully in a room that watches rather than welcomes. The porch and neighbors. Purposeful love does not lock out community. A healthy house keeps an empty chair for the stranger, a wide table for friends, and a railing for the weary to lean on. Yet it also has a lights-out hour. The house too must rest. Balancing hospitality and privacy is the rhythm of maturity. Agree on open and closed hours, so welcome does not drain the kitchen, and privacy does not harden into selfishness. Maintenance. No house lasts long if only built but never maintained. Each month, check the electricity trust. flush the water forgiveness, patch the roof, grace, repaint a wall language, refresh the kitchen nourishment. Each quarter, write a house report. What gives us life? What drains us? What needs more? What needs less? Don't wait for cracks to widen. Fix the hairline and the wall won't break. Warning signs. 1. Intensity replacing depth when bursts of emotion mask the lack of consistency. 2. Position replacing purpose when two people start proving instead of becoming. 3. Control replacing cooperation when one manages the other like a foreman. At the first sign, slow down and pull into the maintenance station rather than racing through. The tools. The shared tool of all construction is prayer. Prayer is not a performance, but the act of placing the site in the owner's hands. Sit together, speak to me about joys and struggles. Name those who need remembrance. Ask grace for uneven edges. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Ecclesiastes 4:1-2. The first strand is you, the second is the one beside you, the third is me. When the third strand is present, the first 2 need not cling in fear. They stretch together toward the same sky. My beloved child, I also want you to discern between rushed passion and enduring affection. Rushed passion loves to take pictures from the balcony. Enduring affection quietly pours concrete for the foundation. Rushed passion demands everything right now. Enduring affection trusts in the right time. Rushed passion fears silence. Enduring affection knows silence can heal. When your heart beats fast, ask yourself, am I hungry for display or thirsty for truth? The answer will tell you whether to return to the kitchen or the balcony. Do not forget the study room, the place where 2 souls learn from one another. Each person is a living book, some chapters easy, some pages wrinkled. Read the other as a kind anthropologist would, curious yet respectful, asking questions without judgment, taking notes without labeling. When a difficult habit surfaces, ask, what fear lies beneath this? The right question is a key that unlocks. Premature judgment is a hammer that shuts the door. And here is a short house code I invite you to hang behind the main door. In this home, silence is not used as punishment. In this home, we say, I'm tired before we explode. In this home, we apologize before we explain. In this home, we praise the small, not just the grand. In this home, we choose peace over winning. 5 short lines that can save many stormy seasons. My child, I want to lay the first brick today. Write a house-building vow for the one you love, even if that person has not yet entered your life. I will build a home for you with truth, faithfulness, and joy. I will keep the kitchen warm, the roof sound, and the door clean. I will speak words that he'll work diligently and rest rightly. I will let God be the master and us the stewards. Once written, fold it and place it on the altar of guidance within your heart. A vow does not summon a person by magic. It summons you into the posture of a builder, steady, humble, patient. I look upon the house to come and smile, for I see quiet meals that glow with warmth, rainy afternoons, filled with the sound of pages turning, sunny mornings, where prayer rises softly, stormy nights under a roof that does not leak, and guests leaving lighter than when they arrived. Purposeful love does not flaunt itself on the boulevard. It shines quietly on thresholds, in kitchens, at tables, and upon chairs. Begin today with a single brick. I will be with you from foundation to roof, from blueprint to the day you move in, and in that house, my glory will become the gentle light guiding many homes. My child, when the foundation is laid and the pillars rise, the house of love is still not yet livable without rhythm. Rhythm is how the rooms converse. The kitchen calls to the living room with the scent of tea. The study replies with the rustle of paper, and then all fall silent for a short prayer before the lamp dims. Purposeful love does not survive on waves of passion, but on small, steady rhythms, the repeated beats that give the heart rest. So compose the daily song of 2 lives' morning greetings. with a blessing, a sincere check-in at midday, and 3 notes of gratitude before sleep. These simple refrains will weave a soft carpet beneath your feet, so that even when the wind changes your steps, we'll still know the way home. The next rhythm is the soul appointment. Once a week, hold a short family council, 15 to 30 minutes, not to argue but to synchronize your inner worlds. What gave us life this week? What drained us? What small change do we want next week? Place this meeting under one rule: listen. To understand, not to rebut. Each person finishes their thought. The other summarizes before responding. The language of this meeting is, I feel, when, and I hope, not. You always. When the ears are honored, the heart stops raising shields. Above all, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. Colossians 3:1-4. That ancient word is not a wall decoration, it is the operating principle of such meetings. Now we come to conflict, the true stress test of architecture. Conflict itself does not weaken a house. How we handle it decides whether walls crack or hold. I give you a 4-step toolkit. Pause, place your hand on your heart, and breathe slowly 3 times. Name-call the issue what it is. Avoid attacking the person. Dialogue: each speaks within a short frame, the other reflects back before replying. Small agreement: choose one doable action within 48 hours. When anger flares, do not let the sun set on it. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. Ephesians 4:2-6. Not everything must be solved tonight, but something must settle tonight. A softened tone, a held hand, or simply an agreement to resume later with clearer minds. Small, timely steps keep the roof from cracking. Many conflicts don't come from storms, but from dust buildup, unclear schedules, unspoken expectations, old wounds unwashed. Practice expectation hygiene when inviting, clarify boundaries and timing. When promising, note the details, prone to forgetfulness. When something small hurts too deeply, ask, which old scar just got touched? Then speak truthfully without blame. Most homes collapse not from hurricanes, but from hidden dampness. Weekly cleaning is light. Waiting for the stench makes the task tenfold harder. Another threat to architecture is envy, a termite that eats from within. Envy grows when position overshadows purpose, when comparison replaces gratitude. The remedy is the blessing exercise. Whenever your partner is praised, speak a blessing aloud, then whisper a second prayer. Thank you, Lord, for that gift in them. Repeat it until your heart learns that their gift does not impoverish you. It enriches the shared home. Also, practice the mirror exercise when you are praised publicly. Acknowledge their part. Evenly shared light keeps the house cool all year. Beloved, emotional intimacy is the main pipe carrying living water through every room. It is built from 2 stones: presence and safety. Presence means being there without your phone meeting their eyes, speaking their love language. For some, it's words; for others, service; for others, touch. Safety means a zone without judgment, where weakness can be placed on the table and not turned into a weapon later. Make a covenant: what is shared in vulnerability will never be used to win an argument. What is forgiven will not be unearthed again. When these 2 stones are firm, the pipe can withstand the pressure of hard days. You too need an emergency storehouse for storm season, a short list of what to do when the house begins to shake. For example, stop arguing and take a 20-minute walk together. Play a favorite song and listen to it in silence. Call a mentor you both agreed on beforehand. Pray 3 simple lines: we surrender. Please guide us. Please protect us. Having a plan before the storm comes is the mark of an architect who understands the wind. When the wind rises, just open the storehouse. There's no need to debate or add fuel to the fire. For love to have purpose, you must learn the art of editing your story. Each person carries a private narrative about the other and about the relationship itself. The truer the story, the brighter the home. When suspicion arises, ask each other, what story are you telling yourself right now? Then correct it together using facts and goodwill. The devil loves to play the editor of darkness, adding words like always and never to every sentence. Remove those two phrases from your vocabulary of conflict. Truth is sharp but gentle. Exaggeration is sharp but poisonous. I also want to teach you the art of right praise. Complimenting is not sugarcoating. It is naming the good so that the good may grow. Praise specifically near the moment and connected to a value. Thank you for coming home early tonight, just as you promised. It's a small thing, but it makes me feel seen as a priority. A sentence like that is a brick strengthening the beam of trust. By contrast, flattery that is vague loses power over time. Compliments used as leverage become manipulation. Don't do that. Praise, as you would sow, not to reap immediately, but so the soil remembers it is trusted. Now you need a shared dream journal, not to sketch castles in the clouds, but to align real hopes. A place you wish to visit, a skill you want to learn together. A charitable act you plan to give toward a small joint project you hope to start. This book keeps your home facing one direction. Even when life gets busy, simply opening it and choosing one small step will remind you that you are moving forward, not spinning in circles. Shared dreams are like an east-facing window. Every morning there is reason to draw the curtain open. In the architecture of finances, the delicate bloodstream of a household set up three funds: an operations fund for needs, a nourishment fund for shared joys, and a sowing fund for blessing others. Decide the ratios together, record transparently, and pray before any major spending. Money itself is neither good nor bad. It speaks the language of values. When money flows rightly, conversations about it grow softer. And don't forget the good surprise fund, a small reserve for a midweek coffee date, a single flower, a gifted book. Small joys repay great discipline. Keep a ritual called our rest day. It need not be luxurious. It simply asks that you step out of daily roles to remember why you began. Turn off notifications, go somewhere with trees and sky. Tell each other your first memory, your nearest dream, your latest fear. The rest day is the Sabbath of love, the bridge between busyness and endurance. Neglect it, and the home dries up. Keep it faithfully, and the home will carry fragrance. At times, your rhythms won't align. One moves fast, one slow. One speaks much, one remains quiet. Don't try to make the other your copy. Instead, find a shared tempo for each situation. When a quick decision is needed, let the faster one lead while the slower one holds the right to ask two questions. When depth is required, let the slower one hold the lamp while the faster one learns to walk half a beat slower. Can two walk together unless they agree? Amos 3:3. Agreement here doesn't mean sameness. It means harmony of rhythm, a covenant essential to survival. You must also treat the language of apology as a detailed blueprint. Some need to hear "I was wrong." Others need to see concrete change. Some long to be asked, "How can I make this right?" Others need unhurried space. Learn each other's language so that apology becomes a bridge, not just a word. And when forgiveness is granted, issue the discharge note. Do not keep one another imprisoned in old medical records. Purposeful love stands on one word: covenant. A covenant is not the bright vow of a wedding day. It is the hundreds of quiet decisions afterward, staying to take notes when you wish to close the book, coming back to speak truth when you want to shut down, praying together when silence feels easier. A covenant makes God the master builder, so that when both are weak, the third chord still holds. Ecclesiastes 4:1-2. Read that covenant once a year like an engineer, checking the main beam. If there's a crack, don't hide it. Call the craftsman, inject resin, reinforce. Grace is the repair team, always on call. I see your house glowing in a gentle light, not glaring, not blinding. In it, arguments become classrooms, differences material for growth, exhaustion a cue to rest, success a moment to wash hands in gratitude. Keep the steady, small rhythm, don't chase fireworks. Trust in gentle discipline, not in drama. And each time you step through your doorway, whisper, Lord, keep our roof in grace, our walls in truth, our hearth in kindness, our foundation in purpose. When that prayer becomes reflex, your house will stand firm, not only for you two, but for those who pass through, find warmth, and continue their journey with lighter hands. My child, the house now stands firm, the rhythm of life flows well. It's time to step onto the porch, look over the ground around you, and decide what to plant, what to keep, and how to shelter it as seasons change. Purposeful love does not stop at four walls. It needs a garden where fruit can bloom, a storm plan so the house won't panic, and a vision of legacy. So today's labor becomes tomorrow's blessing. I will show you these three parts, one by one, not to burden you, but to give you a map for the long road ahead. First comes the garden. The garden is where two souls sow beauty for others. It may be a small table that welcomes a weary guest each week, a quiet scholarship for a child, a book club that opens windows of the mind, a shared meal with a neighbor in hardship. The garden need not be large, only steady. Choose 3 beds that fit your shared gifts, one of service to ease burdens, one of learning to deepen wisdom, and one of generosity to kindle hope. Each month, go together to your garden, pull up weeds of rivalry, water with gratitude, fertilize with gentle discipline. When the garden is tended, the whole house smells sweet. Guests will see not only fine wood ceilings, but also paths lined with tender shoots. In the garden, learn the art of waiting for seasons. Some seeds sprout in 3 days. Others need a cold winter before breaking the shell. Don't lift the lid each morning to check the roots. Roots don't grow under anxious eyes. Simply keep faith water at the right time, shade at the right hour, prune at the right rhythm. Here the old wisdom rings clear. One plant, another waters, but God gives the growth. Growth cannot be forced. It can only be invited through faithfulness. One day you will see a small blossom on the branch of someone you quietly supported. That blossom is mine, blooming on the soil you patiently cleared. Now comes the storm. No life is exempt from seasons of wind. Storms come in many forms: health, faltering finances, tightening, misunderstanding, spreading bad news arriving suddenly. A home with a storm plan will not panic. I tell you to build a storm cabinet with 7 items. 1. A handwritten promise kept where you can easily reach it so that nightfall still has light in words. 2. A list of 2 mentors you can call. 3. A shared song for hard times, played instead of sharp words. 4. A small emergency fund to preserve essential peace. 5. A 10-minute silence ritual. Sit side by side, no debate. Just breathe and pray. 6. A simplified 2-week schedule, cutting all non-essentials to conserve strength. 7. A pledge never to use weakness as a weapon. This one saves many roofs. When the storm rises, that cabinet will steady your hands, soften your speech, and keep your hearts from losing direction. The storm also reveals what corners were not wind-tight, what drains were still clogged. After each wave of wind, don't rush to forget. Make a post-storm report. Ask, what held us together? What drained us unnecessarily? What needs reinforcement before next season? This is not reopening old wounds. It is repairing the roof while the sky is clear. Fix early, and the next season the house will stand stronger. And remember, do not let early success make you neglect inspection, for storms know how to knock when people are busy celebrating. The third part is legacy. Legacy does not wait for gray hair. It begins with the earliest shared habits. It travels along 3 paths: words, rhythms, and people. Words are short sayings that live on phrases. Both of you agree to pass down to the next generation and to those around you. Here, truth comes before convenience. Here, kindness outweighs short-term gain. Here, we apologize faster than we justify. Rhythms are the steady patterns, shared reading time, moments of service, a giving fund for the community, a habit of gratitude before meals. People are those you invest in, so that they in turn invest in others, students, younger siblings, new colleagues, young couples just beginning to build their homes. When all three paths run together, your love's legacy outgrows your names. It becomes fragrance in the streets, shade along the way. Within legacy, distinguish the essential from the incidental. The essential is the unchanging value. The incidental is the form that may shift. You may change family meetings from Friday night to Sunday morning, or switch from handwritten notes to a digital app, but never abandon the principle of listening to understand. You may change your storm cabinet contact from advisor A to B, but never lose the habit of calling before it's too late. Flexibility keeps legacy alive. Steadfast principles keep it strong. Purposeful love also needs the science of blessing. Blessing is not a cheap miracle. It is the way I name what I am doing among you. Each morning, bless your partner with words that speak to their calling. May you walk in clarity today. May your words strengthen those who hear them. Each night, bless them into rest. May your heart sleep in peace. May your mind be light as you lay your burdens on him. A blessing is like beeswax over wood. It doesn't change the structure, but it preserves it from rot and moisture. I also teach you the language of small promises. Do not wait for grand rituals to make vows. Scatter small promises through everyday life. This evening I'll close my laptop on time. This week I'll take over cooking 3 meals. Tomorrow we'll take a 20-minute walk. Small promises hold trust like nails. Hold a frame. When the nails are even, the frame is straight. And when one bends, apologize quickly, not to erase the mark, but to reset the nail. In managing tension, you both need a safety map. Write down 3 things that make the other feel loved and 3 that easily wound them. Keep that map where the eyes of your heart can often see it. When disagreement comes, consult the map before speaking to avoid stepping on old scars, to know which door to open. A single word spoken at the right threshold can change the flow of an entire evening. Beside that, practice gentle role switching. Once a month, spend an hour walking in the other's shoes. Do their chores, handle their usual tasks, face their schedule. 1 hour like that dissolves many misconceptions and rebuilds bridges worn thin by familiarity. Empathy doesn't grow from theory. It grows from sweat and from hands touching real work. You also need a Thanksgiving altar for things that didn't go as planned. Write down 3 events that seemed like losses but later proved to be gains: a job you didn't get, a project that failed, a trip that was canceled. Recall them whenever impatience rises. The one who led us through that will lead us through this. Gratitude doesn't paint failure pretty. It places failure in the chair of a teacher. Do not forget each one's private gate, a pocket of time, a small space to tend your own soul, reading, creating, being with God. True love does not dissolve identity. It enriches identity for the sake of offering. When each returns from their gate with brightened eyes, the whole house glows. And here is the long season oath I want carved into your main beam. We will choose kindness when weary, honesty, when afraid, hope, when the fog thickens. These 3 choices are like arrows on a weathered road. When the map blurs in rain, they still point the way. Kindness keeps the house warm. Honesty keeps it sound. Hope keeps it from going dark. Now, imagine a late afternoon many years from now. Moss has grown beautifully along the porch. The wood has deepened in color. The garden has risen high. A young couple knocks hands, trembling, just through their own storm. You invite them in, pour water, and tell them about your seasons of sun and rain, not to boast, but to show them the storm cabinet, the guidance altar, the dream journal, and the garden beds where gifts turned into bread. When they leave, their eyes are lighter. That is legacy, not a story about us, but a road others can walk more steadily. I bless your home, a foundation set on purpose, pillars built of reverence and faithfulness, a roof tiled with grace, quiet wires of trust running smooth, pipes of forgiveness flowing freely, a kitchen warm with small joys, a garden green with service, a storm cabinet ready, and on the ceiling, this inscription to read each time you look up: love never fails. 1 Corinthians 1:3-8. When that truth becomes habit, your house will not merely survive the seasons. It will become a landmark for travelers, a place where people learn to love without fear, live without haste, and give without running dry. My beloved child, when light in your life begins to stand firm, when the room has found its vertical and horizontal lines, when the house of purposeful love has taken shape, then a different kind of wind will come, the wind of jealousy. Suspicion, distortion. Do not be alarmed. Light does not fight. It merely reveals what was already there. When the lamp is lit, dust shows. When grace is displayed, arrows will find their way. I tell you this not to make you afraid, but to make you ready, to teach you how to walk in peace amid the noise of men and keep your heart pure amid the sound of wind. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:3-1. That question is not a slogan to shout. It is the foundation of a steady soul that steps forward unshaken. The first thing you must remember is this: not everything that confronts you is an enemy. Many times it is simply a heart that has lost its way, that lacks love, that is afraid of losing its place, so it uses you as a mirror to look into and then feels smaller. I am not calling you to fight people. I am calling you to discern the wind. Some winds require you to shut the door to keep warmth in. Some winds require you to open a crack to let fresh air in. Some winds require silence so the dust can settle. Discernment is the oil lamp of warfare. It does not glare, but it endures, and it is just enough to keep you from bumping into furniture in the night. Start with the shield of the heart guard, the center from the arrows of prejudice. When you hear a crooked word, your old reflex wants you to answer right away. But the one who walks in peace has a different habit. Take half a step back, take a deep breath, lay your hand on your chest and ask, what is the truth here? What is my purpose here? Does this belong to my part, or does it belong to silence? 2. Respond just to win the argument is cheap. To respond to preserve the atmosphere is precious. You are under no obligation to explain everything. You are responsible to guard the axis that makes you you. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:2-3. Next comes the helmet of salvation, placing the outcome of your life in me, not in the crowd. When you know the end of the story is already mine, you will be less obsessed with managing public opinion. Fear of public opinion is the rope that pulls people away from the charter of their calling. Knowing who is the chairman over your life frees your hands to keep doing what is right. You do what is right. I take care of when it will be revealed. Then comes the belt of truth here. Truth is not only data, truth is the way you live. Straight, speak straight, act straight. When you keep the habit of writing things down, doing what you agreed to do, apologizing quickly, thanking properly, the door for stray rumors narrows on its own. Those who dig will find only the fingerprints of faithfulness. Truth does not shout, it leaves a print. Finally, in this basic layer are the shoes of peace, choosing to walk at the pace of one who carries good news. Where there is conflict, you look for the mind to diffuse. Where there is competition, you choose to bless. Where there is jealousy, you step back half a beat so the other person feels less threatened. Peace is not weakness. Peace is the authority of someone who has surrendered the battlefield of the heart to my rule. My child, when light meets jealousy, 3 fronts, usually open words, looks, and silence. Word stories, half true, half made up side comments for fun that leave a bitter aftertaste. Looks, the sideways glance that makes the whole room feel smaller. Silence, the long quiet that makes you doubt yourself. I give you 3 tools to match them: the filter, the curtain, and the background music. The filter is for words. Run them through 3 questions. Is this true? Is this necessary? Is this edifying? If it lacks even one, lay it down. Use the same filter when you speak. Say what is true. Say it at the right time. Say it to heal. A true word spoken at the wrong time is a hammer missing the nail. A true word spoken with the wrong purpose is a sharp knife gone astray. Choose your words like a craftsman chooses nails. Some nails hold beams, some are just for show. In battle, excess words are a wide door for arrows to fly through. The curtain is for looks. Some looks do not need a conversation. They just need a curtain. Lower your presence on social media for a while. Change where you sit, withdraw from a circle of unhealthy talk. A curtain is not a wall. It is a soft boundary to preserve fragrance. You do not owe anyone uninterrupted access to the interior of your soul. Be gentle but firm, and you will see that gossip has less space to cling to. The background music is for silence. When no one is saying anything, the mind easily turns on a soundtrack of suspicion. Choose another soundtrack on purpose: a promise, a hymn, a few short prayers. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 9:1-1. Repeat that line in your heart like a refrain, and you will see silence is no longer a black hole. Silence becomes a garden where peace can be fermented. I know there will be times you are attacked directly. In those moments, instead of building a courtroom in your head, build a negotiation table of the Holy Spirit in your secret place. Ask, Lord, is there any part of what they said that is true and I need to receive? Receiving the true part is disarming the mine inside. Then say, the twisted part I handed over to you. Please deal with it by creating an opportunity for truth to shine. Finally, add a hard but freeing line: I bless them. Blessing does not deny the wound. Blessing cuts the cord that would tie your soul to revenge. Bless those who curse you. Luke 6:2-8. That is heaven's strategy, protecting your heart while handing the battlefield back to me. In this battle, do not underestimate the ally formation: someone who speaks truth gently, someone who intercedes faithfully, someone who is technically skilled. They are gatekeepers I place around you. When the waves of rumor rise, listen to them before you listen to the crowd. When your arms grow tired, let them hold up your hands, just as Aaron and Hur held up Moses' hands, so that the battlefield turned from loss to victory. Ask and I will show them to you. Keep those relationships with sincerity and gratitude. Do not forget to care for your body, sleep, water, movement, sunlight. Spiritual warfare often makes people starve the body, and then the mind, lacking fuel, begins to spiral. You are a whole person. Keeping the body well is keeping the weapon sharp. A decent meal, an hour's walk under the trees, a few stretches, these small practices keep the prefrontal cortex, where wise decisions are made, from going dark because of stress. There is a subtle temptation to turn warfare into identity. You are not a warrior every hour. You are my child first. When there is no call to arms, live like a gardener, sow, water, laugh, love. Battle is a season. Peace is the base rhythm. Those who fuse their identity with battle will see enemies everywhere and will sooner or later burn out the hearth. Those who know how to return to the porch after the fight will keep a warm light, not turn into a blinding lamp. You will ask, are there times I must speak publicly? Yes, but rarely. The rules speak when your silence harms others, or when truth is being twisted to the point of causing real injury. When you speak, tell the truth with evidence. Speak briefly. Speak once, hand it over. Do not argue endlessly. Fighting to vent is already a loss. Because what you are protecting is not your image but the atmosphere of your assignment. Remember this: the right fire burns the ropes, not the people. When facing jealousy, the fire you carry must be the fire of disciplined love, refusing to add to the exaggeration, refusing to feed gossip, refusing to feel satisfaction at another's stumble. Keep doing what is good. Your consistency is the ember that burns away rotten wood, and wondrously one day those who once gritted their teeth may gently knock, not necessarily to apologize, though they might, but to ask for direction. Greet them with a cup of cool water. That is the most beautiful victory. I have also placed around you a fence of prayer, short sentences you can whisper while walking, working, or listening. Keep my mouth from heavy words. Set a guard at the gate of my heart. Let me do only what belongs to my part. These three are enough to slow down hot reflexes, enough to create the gap where grace can enter. With repetition, your brain learns a new path. Instead of lashing out, it returns. Instead of bursting, it calms. And here is the inscription I want carved on the edge of your desk. No one can steal what the Father gives. You don't need to grip so tightly that your hands turn blue. You only need to hold faithfully until peace settles in. What belongs to you will find its way to the right threshold. What doesn't, no matter how high you climb, will only tire your knees. This freedom is the invisible shield that makes envy's arrows miss. They cannot find a grip on a heart resting in the Father's hands. To close this chapter, I give you a simple morning ritual. Put on your armor through words. Lord, today I put on the helmet of salvation, the belt of truth, the shoes of peace, the shield of faith, and the sword of your word. I do not fight to defeat others. I live to remain faithful to you. Then step out, work as a skilled craftsman, love, as one who carries water, and rest as a child at home. When light meets envy, you will not glare. You will glow gently. When crooked words chase you, you will not run. You will stand. And in that standing, I will show that the one who guards you does not slumber, that the gatekeeper of your soul remains holding the axis, the roof, and the atmosphere to the very end. My beloved child, after the winds of jealousy and the undercurrents of comparison have settled, I want to take you deeper into the art of sheltering, not merely deflecting stray arrows, but building a dome of peace over your soul and over those entrusted to you. Protection is not about high walls and fearful living. It is about creating a climate where goodness can grow without being suffocated, where people can breathe as they were created to breathe. This climate is made of three elements: my presence as the air, truth as the steady pressure, and love as the warmth. When these three mix into your daily life, in how you enter a room, how you place your hand on a task, how you look into a face, the schemes of darkness will lack oxygen to burn. Darkness does not fear noise. Darkness fears clear air. First, I teach you about protective connection, an invisible circle you must nurture intentionally. It begins with the covenant between you and me, then extends into the covenant between you and your partner, you and the small community I've placed you in, and you and your calling itself. Do not overlook these ties. The oldest schemes always aim for the joints. When the joints loosen, the whole structure shakes. So each day, through very small acts, tighten the joints: a morning prayer, a thoughtful question, an honest yet gentle message, a small decision that stays true to the charter of your purpose. The rope is strengthened by rhythm, not by outburst. 10 quiet motions beat one dramatic explosion. You will see when the joints are secure, the wind passes without a whistle. Next, recognize the subtle tactics of darkness, distraction, leakage, and exaggeration. Distraction breaks your focus into fragments, pulling your deep attention, the purest form of prayer, away from what truly matters. Leakage drains joy, time, and energy through nameless gaps, long pointless talks, endless scrolling justifications that drain fire from your heart. Exaggeration inflates a small misstep into a storm of imagination, making you overreact and forget your mission. The remedy for all three is not a grand campaign, but a ritual of return. Pause for 10 seconds. Place your hand on your heart and ask 3 questions. What is essential right now? What am I losing to distraction? What step brings me back? That step might be as small as closing a tab, leaving a fruitless conversation, or reopening a passage of scripture that once saved you. Small, but it's the rope that pulls you back from the edge. In the art of standing firm, learn structured silence. Silence is not hiding. Silence is the command room where decisions are made beyond the noise. I want you to build 3 rooms of silence. 1 short each day, 3 minutes anywhere. 1 medium each week, half an hour, same spot. And 1 long each quarter, half a day away from obligations. In the short room, just breathe and repeat 3 lines. I belong to you. I agree with your will. I trust you are working, though I cannot see. In the weekly room, review the map, what still aligns with your charter, what has drifted, what needs repair. In the long room, ask the big questions. Who am I becoming? Am I loving right? Where have I traded truth for convenience? It is in these silent rooms that I recalibrate your compass and refill the oil of your lamp. When silence has structure, your voice amid noise will be fewer but weightier, your decisions fewer but truer. My child, I also want you to practice the shield of gratitude, a light but enduring defense. Crooked arrows often look for cracks of resentment. When the heart starts listing losses, the arrow finds skin. True gratitude is not closing your eyes and calling bitter sweet. Gratitude names the evidence of grace within real circumstances. Write down 3 small things each day: a call that warmed you, a step forward in a project, a shared laugh at home. As your list grows, the inner lining of your shield thickens. Arrows strike, glance off, and fall. Give thanks in all circumstances does not ask you to call darkness light. It teaches you not to let darkness name the whole scene. There is another subtle snare: infinite explanation. You get dragged into endless loops of defending yourself where the goal shifts to being understood. But your mission is faithfulness, not being understood. When speech is necessary, speak truth briefly with evidence for the good of others, once then return to your work. If your heart still lingers to fight one more round, look beneath that urge. It may be a need for validation or control. Hand that needs to me, then perform. One small act, true to your calling: write a page, teach a child, water a plant. A need fed by faithfulness will quiet. A need fed by argument will grow. In protecting the community, I call you to the discipline of honor. Honor is not flattery. It is choosing to see others through the lens of my image in them, even when their edges scrape your hand. Speak of them in words that keep their face clean before a third person. Correct them directly, not through tavern whispers. Where honor is kept, envy struggles to live because everyone feels safe behind each other's backs. In such a community, light grows without needing to pull others down. All stand taller on the right foundation. Beside honor is strategic humility. Humility is not devaluing yourself. It is standing at the right scale before truth. Where you are skilled, act. Where you lack, ask. Where you are wrong, correct quickly. Where you are right but it is not yet time, stay quiet and do the next small good. Micah 6:8 says it perfectly. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? To walk humbly is to match pace with the Father swift, to save others slow, to save yourself still when saving both. I also want to equip you with a map of boundaries to guard what matters most: your soul, your family, your calling, and your body. Your soul, do not accept every invitation to speak. Choose spaces where truth and kindness dwell together. Your family, protect hours that are non-negotiable. meal times, rest times, prayer times, so that the gaze between souls continues to meet. Your calling, do not trade the essential for things that look useful but drain your peace. One right task done in a day outweighs 3 that are peripheral. Your body sleep well, drink water, move often. Spiritual endurance rests on a body cared for properly. Boundaries are doors when doors are defined. Thieves have trouble slipping in. In battle, do not forget the holy laughter. The right laughter at the right time is a release valve for the whole system. It softens the fibers of the heart and rinses away the dust of over-seriousness. I do not call you to live carelessly, but to preserve childlikeness, the privilege of those who know how the story ends. When others expect you to glare or cry, smile, bless, and keep walking under the open sky. Some arrows miss simply because you refuse to stand in the script others wrote. I place in your hand the vow of the long season, a short line to carry with you whenever you walk through noisy places. Keep my mouth from excess words, my heart from strange fire, my hands from tasks not mine. It is not mystical. It is a safety rope. Each time you whisper it, you pull yourself back to center in the wind. You will find a paradox unfolding. With fewer arguments, your work will reach farther. With less explanation, trust will deepen. With less proving, light will grow warmer. There is another cunning scheme filling the schedule, with good to avoid the right. When jealousy rises, many rush to do many visible good works to drown out the noise around them, burning all their oil until the lamp goes dark. You do not need more good if the right is already in place. You need more oil. Oil comes from silence, from gratitude, from honor, from rest, from gentle laughter, from faithfully doing the 3 identity tasks. When the lamp burns by oil, no one has time to question why it shines. They are too busy sitting near it for warmth. Finally, I teach you the blessing of forgetting. Not forgetting to dismiss, but forgetting so your heart no longer holds the debt sheet I already tore up. There are twisted words, there are glances that scratch. Handle your part, place them in my hands, and let your mind work on something else. Remember the name of someone who needs lifting. Recall a verse plan, a meal for a loved one. When memory is retrained, pain loses its nourishment. It shrinks into a scar that teaches you gentleness with life. My child, when light meets envy, is not the last chapter. It is only a refrain that makes the song of faithfulness sound deeper. Keep your steady rhythm, proclaim the charter, guard your boundaries, give thanks, smile kindly, love rightly, be silent rightly, speak rightly, and if the night thickens, remind yourself, I do not fight alone. For the one who protects you does not sleep. His angels still pitch their tents around those who fear him, and his promise still stands. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you cross the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. From that dome of peace, you will continue without strain, walk without heaviness, and love without fear. For the one who keeps you is I, the Lord of the heart's climate, now and forever. My beloved, the triumph of heaven is seldom loud. It is quiet and deep like roots gripping the underground stream. You have learned, the furnace walked, the corridor, opened the doors, built the rooms, raised the house, tended the garden. You have also learned to stand firm amid voices and shadows. Now I place on your shoulders a cloak light, but warm the cloak of a keeper of climate, a sower of gentle order, one who spreads peace like seed, soundless yet steady in growth. First, recognize your new gate, the gift born from many seasons of discipline. This gate no longer rushes to prove nor crouches to defend. It is the calm stride of one who knows their destination. Your steps are measured, pausing in the right place to listen, moving at the right time to act, slowing half a beat to yield. Those who walk this way do not stir the waters to see their reflection, nor wave their hands to erase ripples on the lake. They let the lake be still and let its stillness mirror the sky. They need few words to be trusted, for perseverance has become their signature. When you see this, give thanks not because you are great, but because I have led you through every turn without letting you break. Next, understand triumph by heaven's measure. Here, victory is not being above others, but being aligned with the charter, not applause, but fruit. And fruit looks very human, a face less tense after leaving your presence, a small right decision chosen over haste, a relationship mended by a timely apology, an orphan receiving new shoes, an elder receiving a warm bowl of soup, a student learning to name fear and walk through it without pretending strength. When these happen regularly, that is triumph. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, fruit that is quiet but fragrant. I also invite you into the wide commission, not a grand departure, but a long road of faithfulness. Your commission runs on 3 routes: the ordinary places, the borders of your craft, and the lands of silence. The ordinary places are tables, hallways, bus stops, classrooms, spaces where people least expect to meet God but need Him most. The borders of your craft are where your skill touches another's wound. There do your work with excellence and goodness, so your excellence becomes a conduit for my goodness. The lands of silence are the empty boxes you once feared, rests, Sabbaths, unplanned, mornings. There you become a gentle voice for weary souls, not by preaching, but by simply being. The new commission doesn't push you upward, it draws you deeper. It doesn't make you run faster, it teaches you to endure longer. To walk long, keep the quiet triumph code: 5 short rules for long seasons. 1. Wash your hands in gratitude after every success. Clean hands turn new handles without slipping. 2. Name clearly what does not belong to you, so neither praise nor criticism pulls you off your charter. 3. Keep the 3 identity practices with ritual respect, like a priest lighting lamps each evening. 4. Maintain your joints with me, your partner, your small community, through prayer messages and time. 5. Each week perform 1 anonymous act of kindness. That's how you clear your inner atmosphere from the dust of self-display. Now I hand you the map of reconciliation for cracks that may still linger after battle. Reconciliation is not always returning to what was. Often it is finding the right new distance blessed with genuine goodwill. Follow 4 steps: see clearly, own your part, hand over their part, bless. See clearly, name the fracture without sugar. Own your part, acknowledge your share, however small. Hand over their part, give it to me. I have ways of softening hearts you don't. Bless, speak a blessing so your hands release the cords of anger. Then clean water begins to flow through what was clogged. Over time, the old scent fades. You will feel again the lightness of one who no longer grips. The legacy of quiet triumph is a community of rest, a few people learning the same rhythm, to speak little but rightly, to work steadily and faithfully, to love slowly but deeply, to forgive swiftly and sincerely. Start with 2 or 3. Gather around a simple table, share a passage of the Word, a small joy, a need for prayer, a tiny plan for good in the week. Do not turn it into a movement, keep it like a home hearth. The fire may be small, but the coals are steady. Those who pass by are warmed. Those who stay learn how to build the same hearth at home. That is how heaven spreads on earth, not with fireworks, but with fire pits. In the final movement of this journey, I want you to repay hope to yourself. Some dreams you folded away when the storm came. Now open the notebook again. Lay them before me and ask which season has passed, which needs more maturing, which calls for a small step today. To repay hope is not ambition. It is honoring the seeds I once planted in you. When you reopen the right dreams, life's energy surges quietly but surely, like the underground current pushing a boat from the dock in silence. I also teach you the threshold ritual of stillness, simple yet rich in power. 1. Give thanks for the path behind with 3 specific lines. 2. Confess. 1. Blind spot I've shown you. and promise to keep its lamp lit. 3. Ask blessing for anyone who may be affected by your next step. 4. Whisper, I choose peace over position, faithfulness over applause, truth over convenience. This 4-step ritual closes old doors without regret and opens new ones without show. The staff I place in your hand at this stage is called kindness with boundaries. You wield it to point the way, not to strike, to mark lines, not to push others into pits. Kindness keeps you from retaliation. Boundaries keep you from being swallowed. Together they form a quiet authority. People feel safe when you enter a room, knowing you will not ignite without cause, yet you will not tolerate what is twisted. You become the shepherd of every space you enter, gathering, mending, binding up, yet also reminding, directing, pruning in due time. And here is the short song I want you to carry in your chest every morning. Lord, today, I choose to make the noisy things small and the true things great. I choose to value people over achievements. I choose to keep the hearth warm rather than light fireworks. I choose to be faithful in the small things because I know you are weaving the great things. Sing it softly, just enough for your heart to hear, just enough for your mind to record. That melody will soften your neck whenever you are about to speak an unnecessary word. It will warm your fingers whenever you are about to type something too sharp. It will slow your steps whenever you are about to chase a strange fire. You will ask, so what do you promise me now? I promise what I have promised from the beginning, but now you are hearing it with grown ears. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you cross the rivers, you will not be swept away. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. I do not promise a road without rain, but I promise the roof will not leak. I do not promise a life without wind, but I promise the pillars will go deep. I do not promise that everyone will understand, but I promise that peace will guard your heart beyond all understanding. These words are not charms. They are the axis on which you can hang the coming days. Now, before I close this part, do 3 small things. Write a thank you letter to yourself from a year ago, the one who chose to stay instead of run. Write a blessing message to the person who once misunderstood you, not to demand reconciliation, but to release your grip, and schedule a holy rest day to lie under a tree, read a few pages, take a nap, laugh out loud once. 3 small things, but they are the sign that you have entered true triumph, to be grateful, to let go, and to rest. My child, I bless you. As you leave this page and step into your ordinary pages, may your eyes see that small things are enough. May your ears catch the whisper. May your hands find the work that is truly yours. May your feet stay in the rhythm of peace. May the room you live in carry the scent of honesty. May your roof be tiled with grace. May your garden be green with service. And may your doors stay open to what is right and closed to what is crooked. May everyone who steps into the space you guard leave a little lighter, and everyone who goes out carry with them a seed of peace to sow where they live. From now on, your triumph will look like this: a meal warm enough, a page bright enough, a phone call gentle enough, a decision honest enough, a prayer deep enough, and in every enough, I, the one who is enough, will do the rest. That is enough. Thank you for listening to today's message. Click subscribe and turn on notifications so we can keep receiving the living word together, building unshakable faith and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.